umbukiso olo ngayo inkosi yethu uYesu Kristu. Ngoko ke bazalwane bam abayintanda, nina bonala bondokose nani oxhamela, qinani ningabi nakushukuma, nihlale niphuphuma umsebenzi wenkosi, nisazi nje ukubulaleka kwenu akulambathi enkosini, inhliziyo yenu mayingakhathazeki. Kholwani kuThixo, nikholwe nakum. Endlwini kaBawo zininzi indawo zokuhlala. Ukuba bekungenjalo ngendanixelelayo, ndiyemka ndiyonilungiselela indawo, khona ukuze apho ndikhoyo mna nani nibe lapho. Ndabona izulu elitsha nomhlaba omtsha. Kuba elokuqala izulu nowokuqala umhlaba ungasekho, nolwandle lungasekho, ndaza mna Yohane ndawubona umzongcwele iJerusalem entsha isihla ivele emazulwini, ilungisiwe ihonjisiwe njengomtshakazi elungiselelwe eyakhe indoda. Ndeva ilizwi elikhulu liphuma emazulwini lisithi, uyabona umnquba lo kaThixo unabantu, uyakuhlala nabo emnqubeni babe ngabantu bakhe, yena uThixo ahlale nabo abe nguThixo wabo, azosule uThixo zonke inyembezi emehlweni abo, kungabikho kukhala nakufa nasijwili, kuba izoqala izinto zigqithile. Waza lowo uhleli ethroneni athi kum, uyabona izinto ndizenza ntsha, bhala, ngoba la ngamazwi ayinyaniso athembekileyo. Thina ke ngokwedinga lakhe silindele amatsha amazulu nomtsha umhlaba apho kumi khona ubulungisa. Ngoko ke nyamezelani bazalwane ide ifike inkosi. Ngalo mazwi ndiyanibulisa ngegama elihle, igama lenkosi yethu uYesu Kristu, inkosi abeyikhonza uNala, uNdokose, uDumile Mateza. From that fashion, I welcome everybody to this memorial service of one dedicated, loyal, passionate, proud South African. What a South African that we have lost. Some call him a walking encyclopedia of sports in general. One of a rare kind. You would never find at any time at the SABC one who would be conversant with no less than 8 different sporting codes from a commentary point of view. And so, it's a big loss. Not only to the family, but to the SABC. And not only to the SABC, but to South Africa in general. Igama lam nguPhatko Mafani. I'm privileged that the family and the SABC have agreed to invite me to direct the proceedings here today. Just a couple of housekeeping rules. When you're looking for rooms to relieve yourselves, please find them in the passage. They will be labeled the gents and the ladies. If you have a cell phone, and some of us keep 2 and some even 3 cell phones, and if you have one, please make sure that it's on silent or vibrate, so it does not interfere with the broadcast here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mampinga, Mama Mateza nabantwana bakho, ndawonye namaxhamela akuzalayo, we welcome you here. And we want you to know that we are here. Ungazonzakalisi, sikhona sonke. To open this memorial service, I want to invite one of the former colleagues, Zika Dumile Mateza, a man who worked with him at SABC Sport, kusathiwa Top Sport ngoko. And they went up together, and later on, Ubra Paul then left and went to news. And at some stage, kwa news, bebe babini omlifi abade ababonakalayo. Omnye light nyana, omnye dark, kukhona uPhil Mlifi no Paul Mlifi. We're lucky to have Paul Mlifi amongst us. He's going to come and open the memorial service with a word of prayer. Ningamangalike bethu naxa nikhumsha namhlanje na uyazi into okokuba I'm celebrating uDumile Mateza. And so nendlela enzakhumsha ngayo phesha phaya izawuvakala into okokuba sikwi memorial kaChap. Ndikhokhele o Yehova ndingumhambi Nkosi unamandla unamandla andinawo nobothataka omsendesiyo omsindisi owe olite lowomtombolo wosindiso owavolwange mawovele umpompoze ozehlambizo no omsendesiyo omsindisi owe olete difikile eyordane sosa ezoye zondikape sendiwe la ibango yune ti omsendesiyo omsindisi
Good afternoon. Firstly, let me acknowledge the bereaved family, and most importantly, Umama Mateza, Koliswa, Ututula, the darling of my confidant, Ubaba Dumile. He was forever talking about you, Tutula. You are so special to him, and so is Nandi. Let me acknowledge the MC, Babu Patko Mafani, very gifted journal and anchor of note. And let me briefly again acknowledge Madame Mandisa Titi for having put this together, of course, with your entire team. May God continue to use you as a special vessel to uplift our people, to ignite our spirit, to do great things. And of course, in our midst, I have a former colleague, Sipo, and of course, the unionist, Baba Shabalala, and of course, a former GM of sport, Babu Webster, and of course, my family is here, my wife is here. Mona, thank you so much for being here. The entire family of Mateza City, Siastoba, before you and our God. And of course, I think it's a blessing that Mrs. Mbuli is here. That strengthens me. So before we even go to the word, let us all please close our eyes. Heavenly Father, we come to you with total nobility, knowing that whatever we do, Heavenly Father, you are in it. May we be able, Heavenly Father, to bless each and every speaker who is going to deliver his or her little special tribute for the gallant that has passed on, the man that has instilled so much confidence to 3 generations. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful, for you have promised us from the book of Romans that anybody who believes in him will never be put to shame. Heavenly Father, at this point in time, we just want to say, let your will be done. And Heavenly Father, may your word and all the speakers that are going to deliver those little tributes be able to strengthen each one of us. We pray and trust that the Lord, you are with us even at this point in time. Everybody say amen and amen. Excuse me.
Thank you. Mhlawumbi ke le Bhayibhile uyishiye uba ibe lilifa lam. I don't mind.
Let me just go to it quick. I'm not going to be secretarial.
Okay.
I was looking for my specs.
Oh,
So just to
okay.
read and
All
then
right.
from there.
Hallelujah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I promise
Hallelujah.
you I'm not going to be secretarial. But let me just bring out some of the things that I feel I won't be low. Hallelujah. You can see how disturbed we are, and so am I. At this point in time, I just want us, even if you don't have your Bibles, but I believe there is power in the Word of God. This afternoon, I just want to be brief by going to the scripture of James, chapter 1, verse 2 until 6. It reads thus: "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Amen. At this point in time, Madam Mateza, I just want to say faith is important. Faith is important. And trust in the Lord. The Hebrew reminds us to say faith is the substance, and it is an evidence of things not seen. But above all, I just want to say to you briefly, because I know that the divergent speakers are going to pay a special tribute to the late Dumile Mateza, the man that I have actually worked with for more than 35 years. And even on the last days, we were together at Galaxy Universal Network. We break bread together. For the past 3 months, we were there together until it collapsed. But nevertheless, what I want to single out, ma'am, is that faith will strengthen you. And if you believe in God, there is nothing that is impossible. The book of Luke 18:27, it says, what looks impossible to man with God is possible. In our midst, I thank God that Mrs. Savita Mbuli is among us. You look at her, she's glowing because she's got faith in God, because she knew that each one of us were being given a certain time in this universe. And when that time comes, whether we can go to India, we can go to wherever, but when that period has come, it has come. Now, I want to say to you, Madam, that you are a virtuous woman. You have supported this great man for so many years, and he loved you dearly. And you have stood the test of time. Even when there was a time when, he was not working, but you were there. And I'm telling you that, the psalmist reminds us, it's chapter 37:25. It says, I was young and now I'm old. Never have I seen righteous forsaken, nor her children begging for bread. If you have faith in God that I believe in, your kids are going to acquire whatever they do academically and otherwise. Amen. Winston Churchill, Bapatko, put it so well. He says, to a pessimist, he sees difficulties in opportunities. But an optimist sees opportunities in difficulties. And that's how you should approach this life, man. God is with you. Dumile has won so many hearts of this country and even beyond. And there's no way that the hand of God will actually forget this family. This man was so unique. I've never seen any other anchor than Dumile who'd actually go out, if he's got to deliver commentary on swimming, he'd go out and buy a book on swimming. If you're going to do golf, we'd actually go and buy a book, talking about golf. So this is the man that I think God has really, really, really blessed us with. And he might, be gone, but his deeds will forever ignite us. To say, wherever you are, do the right thing. Let me close by saying, Babu Padko, this man was so confident that there was a time when we actually went to Bloemfontein on a production. And all of us, we were booked at Ntate, the late Mulimela's motel. Dumile booked himself at Bloemfontein International Hotel. And he said, no. That institution we work for, they are going to actually pay me my difference. And guess what? He did that to me. He did that to me. And what was even amazing? In the morning, the late Crown Munakha was there. The late Uncle Dancy Teddy, who was his co-commentator. The late Tepe Butsani, myself. Babu Padko, in the morning, Dumile was smelling beautiful cologne. And the late Crown Munakhuta said, Uncle Dan, litosale, lingha munati, and a man tamle motso ki in 2070. And he didn't even ask Crown Munakhuta. He just went through Dumile's bags and he found cologne. For the first time I saw Aramis. And because no one was used to this cologne, they used it as if it was a doom. And they say, yeah, you want to be the only one to smell good. So what I'm saying is that Dumile was miles ahead. Even when we go out, there was a time when we were actually in Ogni. We slept, Patko, it's not embarrassing, without pajamas. Dumi was the only one who had pajamas in Orkney. So we have learned from social life, we have learned from our career to say this man was miles ahead of us. And it was a God-given gift, you know. So let me close by a very common thing that we are used to. And I sit down. It's about Horatio Stafford. Most of you know the story. Stafford is a lawyer, entrepreneur. He's staying in Chicago. Here comes wildfire. And more than 100,000 people perished. And only 3,000 survived. He took his family to England on a boat. Right in the middle of the sea, they encountered an iceberg. And everybody perished. They found Anna, who's the wife of Stafford, on a plank of wood in Cardiff, Wales. Wales is commonly known by entertaining many journalists have been educated there. And then he gets a telegram that says, left alone. And the husband took a journey to England. In the middle of the same place where this entire people that were there perished, the captain pointed at that place. And Horatio stared at the sky, and he looked down, and he says, when peace like a river attended me, when sea like billows, the Lord has taught me. It is well. It is well with my soul. So today, that sorrow, like a sea billow is a very wild waves. You should say, Mama Mateza, even this great sea billow will pass, and I will stand and have that faith. Today, Heavenly Father, I know that these daughters that have blessed me with are going to achieve whatever they want to achieve. With these words, I want to say, let us all be strengthened. Dumile has played his part. Methuselah in the Bible lived for 969 years, and yet he did nothing in life. He ate, he slept, and just relaxed. So the question is, what are you doing to uplift our community? What are you doing? Dumile has raised the bar. Are we going to raise the bar far better than where Dumile has left it? At this point in time, I just want to say, I'm really humbled that I was able to echo some of the things that we shared with Dumile. The man that did not play golf like us as former caddies, but let me tell you, he was miles ahead. He knew the game as if he was a caddy before. But Patko, may God continue to use you too, my brother. I am so enthused that you are the MC for this occasion. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ndatim Leafy. Talking about Udumza and his cologne. There was one time Udumza called us all. He was doing what he called a housewarming party for Reflect Ayo Irenda Apa Nase Bremley. And there we were, Nechomi Zetu. Songege, no Lita Abba, no Triko, no Lincoln, and all of us. Ne friends zethu ke zase-vets ophumeza aba and others. when all of a sudden, one of our friends, Utaitile, apparently went to the bathroom, wafika phaa kuki-Ted Lapidus kaDumza, bisencinci seyiphela, wayigqibezela, wayifafaza, wayigqibezela. The next thing, Tina, we heard music, music, kanti uMatheza uyocima iplug phaya to confront everybody in the party. But no, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, somebody stole my Ted Lapidus. La Ted Lapidus yam with 395 rand. Abantu bathi ayisuka man. Yeah, there's a number of those. You know, we're going to reflect on those. Recently, Tim Mudise, one of the legends, hosted Mateza. Please enjoy.
I've been in the industry for about 36 years. I arrived at the SABC in 1980 from a small town in the Eastern Cape called Carieda. When I was at high school, for oral work, I used to do sports commentary.
Okay.
Because I realized early that doing commentary in sport is using a language. I had a grandfather who used to be an ardent rugby follower, and he used to listen to rugby commentary. And I picked up after him.
Two personalities involved in today's match. It's Nick Sishweni, who as a 16-year-old played for Wheatbank Aces, and Phil Jones Tsedi, who is coaching Orlando Pirates today. He played in 1980 as a captain of Orlando Pirates.
During that period, I concentrated largely on cricket, and I did cricket mostly, and athletics, probably a bit of boxing here and there, and rugby. During that time, I entered for the SAB Sports Journalist of the Year award. I won it 2 years in a row. We were actually the villains of the advertising industry.
Yes.
Because then we brought in these strict language things. You can't say these. Traditionally, you can't do this. Traditionally, you can't have a child scream at his mother or father. And the advertising industry was very angry with us.
Domini. Pula. Oh yes, Yakar Mlateni. Wilfred Bouquet.
In some circles, he is known as Unkabi Peshapaya. And he made this phrase, Rose of Soweto. He made this phrase very, very popular. Kakulu kakulu in 1992, during the readmission of South Africa back to international football. Bafana Bafana idlala ne Cameroon. That games of Kala ze Bafana Bafana. And somehow, a team list yafika late, and kwafuneka iphinde ithathwe iyofotokopwa somewhere. Yabiqhubi action. And not all of these players are known to local commentators, but yaba nguye kuphela umuntu onendlela creative yokuba aqhubeke nokucommented. Khangela abafana pha baseCameroon Nkabi uthatha le bola inika uNkabi pha. Bafana baseCameroon khangela uNkabi bonke bayahlasela pha yoNkabi phesha pha. Yaba nguNkabi le bola inika uNkabi. NoNkabi baseCameroon. I don't know, honestly. I'm going to call on GM for SABC Radio, Nada Wochela, and I don't know, Nada, where we're going to get one like this. Dumile was really one of a kind. 1995 World Cup Rugby, enye moment, ibhola iphuma kwi-scrum, ithathwa scrum half, ineke fly half, Joel Stransky, isuka ingena kwi-centers. La action yonke to the scoring line yenziwe in 3 languages. You anymore. uDumile wayisusa la action ngesixhosa, and during the same movement yebhola was switched to English, and from English to Afrikaans, and from Afrikaans by the time ibhola ifuka kwi-scoring line sephinda wabuyela kwisixhosa. Not the entire match, no. There are other flashes of brilliance in the entire match. This is the Boks and New Zealand, the All Blacks. The match when President Mandela lifted the Ellis Trophy from Captain Francois Pienaar. And Mateza does this in an easy way. I'm going to call Nada to come and welcome us. We are at the SABC. Thanks, Nada, for things to welcome us and to deliver an SABC tribute. Ladies and gentlemen, Nada Wochela. Please clap hands.
Nkosi Msasazi, we can only hope Msasi ukuba ngokusweleka kukaBradumza ikhona into yawuvuseleleka kulutsha lwethu. Manibulele kakhulu Patco mphathi nkqubo kusapho lwakwaMatheza onala umama ekhaya usesimaxoli uMampinga zindwalutho zihlobo zikaBradumza, colleagues from the SABC umlisela nomthinjana nakwabo bamamele lenkonzo kumakhasi onxibelelwano mandizibulisele nam ngalemva kwemini. Thank you all for joining us as we bid farewell to our beloved legend, a broadcaster and a sportcaster extraordinaire. Ukushiywa ngumuntu ofana noBradumza yilahle kwenkulu kwi-industry yonke yosasazo, hayi nje kwi-SABC. Abazithandayo nabazinambithayo iilwimi zeli nabo bathetha into enye yokuba elinxeba linzulu. Xa kusithiwa le nto ingumntu inamacala amaninzi, ndiyaqonda namhlanje sube kuthethwa ngomntu ofana nomfo kaMatheza. Nangona nje Patco ndithunywe ngu-GCO uba ndizowumela i-SABC, ndinayo into ethi kodwa bendifanele uba ndimele ikhaya. Kaloku mna khange ndisebenze noBradumza, naw uyazi loo nto. Ndimazi njengesihlobo sekhaya siseMonti kumsitho othile. Sincokole ke ngezinye izinto eziphathelene nefamily. Azothi ke ngoku kanene kukho bani ngoku pha kokwenu? Ndikhawuleze ndiphendule ndichaze imeko yasekhaya eBhayi. Athi hayi man, ndithetha ngekokwenu eReeds. Ndothuka ndithi hayi man, uyazelaphi wena eReeds? Athi hayi kaloku ngoku ndisebenza notatakho eCommissioner Street. Besisithi xa singena leave ngeChristmas okanye ngeEaster, and you will understand sisimandi uba babe bambalwa kakhulu abantu ababephethe eza desk zesiXhosa in other languages ku-TV2 and TV3. So xa abanye beselivini abanye bayasala. So xa igame yabo usala uthi ebedla ngothi utatakho Dumza masivuke ekseni, izaba sithukutheza iChristmas yaseRhawutini. Masivuke ekseni sidrive siye ekhaya eReeds, sitye iChristmas khona sibuye sawuphinda sizolala apha eRhawutini. And they would, get up very early, take the drive. It's less than 3 hours a drive eReeds. And then ke uthi sawuba nexesha elimnandi ke sitye izibili iboco zeChristmas okanye zeGood Friday nomakhulu wakho notatomkhulu wakho bephekile oodade bawo bakho. And I was pleasantly surprised because uBradumza akasebenzanga notata eQonce, and I know that abantu abayaziyo eReeds, not just ikhaya lethu eReeds, but that small town. I'm sure nalapha kuni mninzi umuntu ongayaziyo uba kukho indawo ekuthiwa eReeds emaphini. So I was surprised ngomntu owazi eReeds. Abantu endibaziyo uba bayayazi It's close friends zaseQonce, my dad's colleagues eQonce, ebebedla ngosikhapha ke xa kukho iziganeko. Now to find somebody endingamaziyo kuloo circle ekwazi eReeds. So it meant uba uBradumza ebengumuntu o special kakhulu kutata, and as you know, awuvele uthathe nabani na uyomi-introducer kwifamily yakho. Uthatha umuntu oyaziyo uba uqeqeshekile, akazokuhlaza phambi kwabazali bakho. So that's a relationship I enjoyed naye. But xa ndibuyela kuBradumza, the professional, mnye kuphela mphathi nkqubo umuntu endicinga uba he could closely rival isakhono sikaBradumza sokusasaza ingakumbi ezemidlalo. A respectable all-rounder who can deliver quality commentary in rugby, soccer, cricket, athletics, boxing, akunike negolf xa kunyanzelekile. NguZB. Uzolani Bhonco, but ndibethwe yile ndawo ye-Afrikaans ukuba noko ndiyayazi uba ayikho apha emanywabeni. But yinto leyo esenza sibe nexhala, futhi sifuna ukuziphonononga, sizibuze uba siyilahle phi na. Kuba kaloku naye uZB, omnye umlenze sewukwasasa utya umhlala phantsi, omnye ulapha ngaphakathi sisawuxhaphaza. Xa inoba nguye ngenye imini othe shwaka, sizawuba ngabake efuna ukundinika i-feedback nge-meeting ebebenayo. And he was raising the same thing yokuba akukho hlumelo. And une-idea yena anayo enothi incede ukuqeqesha abasasazi abasakhulayo nabo basanqwenayo. Ndiyabona ke ixhala lakhe ibikukuba uyawuthi mhla angasekho singabafumana abasasazi abafana naye, and loo nto izawuba yilahleko enkulu kwisizwe le ngoku sikhala ngayo namhlanje. Eyona nto ke ingumnqa is that oBradumza were never trained in all these disciplines that they have mastered and excelled in. It was pure talent, it was passion and vision that ensured that they push on and they amass knowledge which they can use to better themselves, and also, to leave an indelible mark to the listeners and the viewers. uBradumza joined the SABC in the early 80s in the dubbing department, straight from teaching. He was not as fortunate as those who were recruited from radio stations like my dad, or Uncle Dumile Tuswa. Pha kwi-dubbing ke, yayingowona msebenzi ungabalulekanga kuyaphi, kodwa ke ubalulekile. I remember a time when my dad was a program buyer, so they would go to the markets, Khan and MIP TV, and they would buy programs, because kwakungekho programs ziproduced South Africa ngelo xesha ze languages zethu. So they would identify Sanford and Son, for instance. That was my favorite. I always make that example. Sanford and Son, Good Times, the Jeffersons. If you watch TV in the 80s, ubumbukela uSanford and Son neJeffersons bedabwe ngesiXhosa, ububona uba imilebe le ithetha isiNgesi, but the voice behind yekaBobby Dlikilili ithetha isiXhosa. Ibi ngobhudumile ke noSisi ngoxolo Grootboom ngaloo maxesha ababedabha noSisi Mesatya. But yayindlela yongena apha kumabonakude nasekusasazeni, because after a while baye babonisa izakhono zabo, yena ke ungabi yazezemidlalo. And because there weren't too many commentators ngaloo maxesha, especially abasasaza ngeelwimi zesintu, walifumana ithuba lakhe, azange aphinda abuye ngamva. Uvelile kwiinkqubo zeendaba njengabo bonke abasasazi baloo maxesha, kuba kaloku umntu wayesenza yonke into ethe nje ndizocela umsebenzi and I'm a professional and I'm willing to do anything. Ebethe sezindabeni abe kwintengiso, abanye babede badlale nakwimidlalo yeqonga, idrama ezazikhona ngelo xesha. Kodwa ke eyona nto sithe samazi ngayo nathe wagqwesa kuyo kukusasaza ezemidlalo. Akukho nanye indebe yehlabathi angakhange abe nenxaxheba kuyo nokuba yi-Soccer World Cup, Rugby World Cup, Olympics, ebebakhona as a commentator, as a researcher, maxa wambi ade abe yi-coach ye-producers nabasasazi abasebatsha. Ndikhe ndathi ke ukufaka nemilomo nabo xa kusithiwa kuzawufuneka ndizoma kule ndawo. Bathi ebebafundisa aqale kwi-etiquette. I-interview le uyenza njani, especially nomuntu wamanye amazwe, abanye abantu abafuna usondele kakhulu kubo, abanye bayakwamkela ubusondele. Zizinto ebezifundiswa nguBradumza ke ezo, uba ungasondeli kakhulu ke kwaba bantu abamfuni umuntu o-invader i-personal space yabo. Abafundise ngehistory yalamazwe adlalayo, abafundise ngabadlali no-officials onkabi aba zalo mazwe. The rules of the game, i-records ezikhe zasethwa kuloo midlalo noba zibreakwe ngobani ngeyiphi iminyaka, zizinto bebezifunda bonke kuBradumza ezo. Kanti ke ne-SABC Code of Conduct ne-editorial policies hayi kuthi behamba nazo ngomgca. Ebehlala nabo abafundise ukuba into ethile mhlawumbe engamkelekanga ungayithetha njani without getting yourself into trouble or the broadcaster into trouble. Nezinto mhlawumbi ezingamkelekanga mpela ongenawuzithetha xa ungumsasazi okanye ongenawuzenza, and just the behavior nalapha ebaleni. Bathe bene-booklet, ndiyathemba sisimaxoli nabantwana niyigcinile laa ncwadana kaBradumza. Kuthiwa yonke into ofuna uyazi nge-rules of every game, the players or the athletes, record set, specific dates, zophulwa nini ngobani. Loo nto ke ukuxelela uba ngenene ebeyiyo i-walking sports encyclopedia uBradumza, and they don't make them like him anymore. Usishiya apha e-SABC esebenzela icandelo lendaba ebambe kulaa nkqubo ithi Rights and Recourse. Kodwa iliso lakhe belisoloko lijonge lukhulu anothi akuhlomule. Kuba kaloku he was very much concerned about the development of young talent. Kusapho lokwaMatheza siyabulela ngenkxaso nangenkuthazo enimnike yona uBradumza ngethuba exelengela inyama. Ebengowethu sonke sifundile kuye, sayiva nemfudumalo yakhe. Inxeba lona linzulu, kodwa imisebenzi yakhe iyawuhlala isinika uvuyo ezinhliziyweni. His immense contribution to broadcasting is written in indelible ink. He will always be an inspiration to young and old broadcasters. Akasoze abekho ofana naye. Ugqatso lwakhe ulufezile, masimkhulule. Ndlela ntle nala, ndiyabulela mawethu.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nada Wachela, who looks after radio as Group Executive Radio in the SABC. I think we owe her another big round of applause. And because of his passion for development, teaching, training, at some stage, when Dumile was in charge of a section within SABC Sport that had to do with the development of younger presenters, a presenter by the name of Sue Tunokwe, trained by Dumile Mateza, after she had joined SABC Sport as an intern, and later on explored opportunities with other private broadcasters like Kaya FM. She joins us on video to do her tribute. Check this out.
I started doing commentary alongside rugby fields at school, and many people thought this guy is mad. They were saying so, really. They're saying this guy is mad, something's wrong with this guy.
Why?
Commentary is the use of a language. You see, at the time when I was at school, there was something interesting happening in South Africa. There was a rugby tour by the British Lions led by Willie John McBride, who actually made a clean sweep in South Africa for the first time. A touring side made a clean sweep. Nobody was able to beat these guys, and we were very. We were in awe of these guys, and that's when the bug began to bite, listening to other commentators.
So there you are, you're 19, a young Dumile Mateza, 19-year-old is now a school principal. How does that unfold, and how do you make the step from being a school principal to then ending up in broadcasting?
Well, what happened at the time, the SABC was mulling around the issue of starting a television station for Africans, in other words, for blacks, and they were working on what became known as SABC 2 and 3, TV 2 and 3, that's what they were called, and then I made the application to the SABC, and then I got called to an interview. I had to go to King Williamstown for the interview, so I got into a train, went to King Williamstown, had the interview, and the next day I was told, look, you must pack for Johannesburg.
Oh my gosh. And you packed?
I packed, I got into a train, and I came to Johannesburg on the 2nd of December 1980. I started at the SABC.
Is that where you started? Did you start out as a newsreader before you went into sport?
I started as a newsreader, and I did both. And then at some stage in my career, I said, no, I would like to concentrate on sport.
And boxing?
Well, boxing was, I think, one of the first things we did as a sport on the SABC was boxing. There was an amateur tournament in Randfontein on the mines, and that was the first boxing tournament we had to go and cover for the SABC in 1982, and we went there to cover the tournament, and that's where I started to follow boxing, despite the fact that I came from the Eastern Cape, a place where boxing is
It's big culturally, it's endemic.
It's endemic. You know, I seem to remember in my time, people used to leave in buses and go to see a tournament in East London. And they used to pack a stadium called Sisa Dugashe Stadium in Dansane and pack the stadium for a boxing tournament. It does not happen anymore.
And one thing that you are known for and have been known for throughout the years is your knowledge of, be it football players, boxers, whoever, their personal histories, which you will share with the audience. So there are famous stories of you saying, unyana banbani, who owns a butchery where. Why was that important to you? Do you class yourself as a commentator or more of a storyteller? Because in many ways, that's more broad storytelling.
One of the important things I learned early in my career as a broadcaster is that if I know a person's name and I pronounce it the way it should be pronounced, and I know the background to that person, many viewers or listeners think that I have a personal relationship with those people. Therefore, they would like to listen to those kind of things. I will never forget a time when I was growing up. Given Klebe was doing commentary at a cricket match, and he spoke about, there's the Australian Chappell brothers, Trevor,
Greg,
and Ian, and he said, Onyana Bakatatu Chappell. Now you think when he says Onyana Bakatatu Chappell, he has a personal relationship with these guys. And that's the kind of thing I took. And also the detail in doing commentary, I learned that detail from somebody like Charles Fortune. You need to have the detail. It is the detail that counts, that people want to listen to.
Maybe you can take people back in just a few seconds and give us a piece of commentary, one of your favorite pieces of commentary that still to this day you remember that day, I was spot on.
You will not believe this. We were in Port Elizabeth. We're doing the African Nations Cup in 1996. I get a call from the SABC, and they say to me, look, Dumile, there are a few Afrikaans people who are following the soccer. So can you do commentary for 10 minutes in each of the games that you're doing? I said, okay, I'll do it. And then I just sit down, craft a few words, what would be a corner, what would be this, what would be that. And then I started doing the commentary. People say, who is this now? What the hell is going on here? And I was doing commentary in Afrikaans. I had to remember a whole lot of things like a doelskop for a goal kick. What is a corner kick now again?
It's a hookskop.
A hookskop. And I had to remember Ivory Coast as the Voorkeurs. I had to remember, and I was doing Ivory Coast and Ghana, and it's been a marvel to do commentary over the years. And I was talking to Sutu earlier, asking me, is there a book
Coming out.
I said, yes, I'm working on a book, and it's been very slow, but the book, you'll like the title, Talk is Cheap.
And that's Mateza for you. So passionate about research, and it's true. Commentators, this is one commentator that would never go to a match without doing proper research on those teams. If it's boxing, on those boxers. And he would really do it. I remember the same 96 Dumile is talking about. Then later on, Steve Tshwete was Minister of Sport, and it is the Atlanta 96 Olympics. He is with his colleague, Brian Mulder. And they're doing a semi-final that the whole world wanted to witness. I mean, that semi-final was a humdinger. It was Nigeria versus Brazil. That semi-final. And so because of the status of the match, Brian Mulder went first. Hey, watch out, Brian Mulder, for a long time, not giving Mateza a chance. Watch out. Kanti, ngelixesha Brian Mulder aphe nomona ngomoya. Udumile yena uphethe ipen ubhala ezi mistakes zikaBrian. Wabhala uDumile wabhala. And finally, when Brian handed back to Dumile, uDumile waqonda uba as corrections makazenze ngesixhosa so that angabi na chance yophazamisa lo. Yathi laa nto. Okokuqala le ndawo sikuyo apha kumatla eAtlanta, idolophu encinci ebayibiza Sanford. Ungamamele nto zithethwa apha kuthiwa Stanford. ISanford le ndawo igama layo. Okwesibini lo mdlali weBrazil ujersey number 9. Igama lakhe nguJuninho. Ungamameli le nto ithethwa apha kuthiwa nguJazinho. Ayikho le nto ithethwa apha. Ungamamele ezi nto zithethwa apha. So you would never make that mistake. Uperish when Mateza ungekho prepared. And you make those mistakes phambi kwakhe. Uza kuthatha uMateza straight. Hayi kancinci. Oh, but one thing, there is no one, not at the SABC and anywhere else in South Africa, who would, if Bafana hosted Colombia, or there's a boxer, yes, South Africa is a boxer, as a Colombia, who would go to an extent of not only researching about the parents and the family of that particular boxer, but also learn and know the national anthem of Colombia. So there would be Orient Theatre, a lot of people singing Nkosi Sikelel' Africa, but then when it is the turn for the visiting boxer to have his anthem sung, and it would play from a CD, and if the CD got stuck, Mateza would be on standby to sing that national anthem, because he would be the only one in the venue who knows that Colombian national anthem. I mean, Ngabi Peshapea. I see one of his friends, Eugene Zwane, in the audience as well. Just give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ngabi Peshapea. We're going to go to one former colleague of his, uNompumelelo, Umona Kavanqa, uMaxhamela, to come and spend a few minutes on Dumile Mateza. You may come and ascend the stage. All of you that are coming on stage, ascend it. Here it tends to be a long walk to freedom when you walk up here. So you can come up here and deliver your tribute. Let's give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Kuba ndiza kuyisakala kukubiza izitulo. I'll just say protocol observed. They say I must speak about Dumile. I still remember the figure SABC Sport, 1995. And Dumile comes, also introduced ke kuthi abe uDumile sebuza ba khawutsho ke wena ntombi ungwaphi. Ndithi ke mna ke ithi sisi ngoba ndiyinkosazana Dumile. I'm a princess yamagcina. Then we started laughing. Dumile in 1996, Bebeke Atlanta, I still remember, there were radio guys that were coming from the region. One was from Free State. And this guy, being a first timer to fly, had a basket, and a nguku, and a dombolo, and a train. And Dumile said to this guy, "Hi, betunan kandithethe naye siyafly." Then ndithi ke make Dumile yeke umuntu wabantu uzibone njani ba zinkukhu. Uthi, "No, sibiziwe kwaThomas impahla zethu pha. Come, nansi inkukhu." Umleqwa ke bethu naye. Kukho ke apha ecangomleqwa ichops. Uthi Dumile, I know ke mona uyayithanda inyama. Izothetha nalo bhuti kuthathele inyama. But we left there. Sasisebenza noDumile, usisitoto Mlifi, ulapha unkosikazi kaBrapol, lobelapha. Sasisebenza sonke kwi-department. I still remember the head of sport was just arriving, was leaving, Kempton. Then siye Super Sport. Then come Edward Griffiths. And Edward had this kind of an attitude, yokuba she does listen to the other people about how are we supposed to structure his sport. And again, he wants to listen to the people of South Africa, how do we do sport? And Dumile comes and say, we must go and talk to this boy. As young as he is, he doesn't know South African sport. Then it happened that Edward Griffiths had a group yakhe like Trevor Quick, and there was another guy also, ababe trainer presenters and commentators. And I went to ask Uketla Zwane at that time, because he was dealing with development. How can black people be trained by white people? Ekhona umuntu available that can do the best. I was a sort of a rebel in a way. Then Edward said, no, they are enough, those ones. But I said, take Dumile, because Dumile is a genius. He knows everything. And Edward was not long at sport. Then comes a new boss, a radio metro, Ukhadebe. And Khadebe couldn't last, because blacks at sport were rebels. Real people that couldn't take anything that has to do with so-called. Then I'm trying not to say what I want to say, because I'm afraid for Unada. Because Umamuochela knows I call a spade a spade. Now I'm trying by all means ukuminca. Yakonting athethe. Uyabona isiqoqoshe bhuti wami. Then we had a problem with Kos, because Kos told us as black people, what do you know? And we immediately went from the 16th floor in TV to the 28th floor. And we closed I still remember that time, Babum Timde, there was going to be a board meeting. And here we take over the boardroom as sport black people. And Dumile was not there. He came after he heard that we went to shake the SABC management. And we demanded a person that knows sport, that loves sport. And Peter Matlare was so confused. Here we are, we say we are giving you only 5 days to bring that person. And that person said, Dumile, whom? At Ujamzash. So they are with names already. They asked my boardroom, I'm going to say this one. Then we said, it's either Jamzashe or Mvuzo Mbebe. So they brought Mvuzo Mbebe, and Mvuzo was, he came as first as somebody was just looking and seeing what is happening, and he became a boss. Immediately, before that, there was All African Games. Partco that you never mentioned, that Dumile was a boss. He used to tell SABC crew what to do. And he used to tell the commentators before they go and commentate and say, these are African people. You go there and call their surnames according to their own. If you don't know, come to me and tell me how can I help you to pronounce these surnames? We are Africans. And the All African Games went well, very, very well. And Mvuzo took Dumile to come and train and do research, because most of the presenters, I still say Partco, they were not doing research. So Dumile had to do these packages for them. And immediately Dumile took under his wing Mzimas Mgebisa. May his soul rest in peace. And it's because, so Dumile, Coach Mzimas, and they did this, and they were also helping with marketing. To make the story short, we had 2009, Siyanqoba, Webster Mfebe was the head of sport at that time. Mvuzo Mbebe was the GE. Ulumko was a board person here at that time. May his soul rest in peace. Dumile, what he did, if we are going to go to Pulukwana, he will do detailing of each and every town that we are going to. And he will give the parliamentarians that come to the bus, that synopsis of where are we and why this place was called this. And he will give that history, with a smile. And I still remember he was telling us about the Free State. Then the ministers were there, and there was a time the former CEO of SABC, I'm speaking with Dumile, here comes the former CEO, Utlauti. Uyafika uyema phambi kwami uthi, I need a tracksuit. And I ask him, who are you? And he says, don't you know who I am? And I said, I don't care who you are. There is a queue, go to the queue. He goes out, he rushes to Webster, he rushes to Dalimpofu, they come back. Dalimpofu and Webster, when they came in and they saw me, they turned around and leave Claudi standing there. Then Claudi tried to come and said, I spoke to Dali. I said, bring Dali, bring Vuzo, bring Webster, because I am the boss now here. They hear from me, even them. So Dumile narrated this story in the bus about what happened. And we were laughing, and he said, Chopo kaloku bokucinga ngenye ixesha kaloku awusekho hlathini. Yilibale la ngqondo yehlathi. awulungisi isibhamu for uyaqona noko ngadithi ke make kaloku bengazufika kumavela athethe na to such an extent Claude remembered that even when he was still here. Nada will remember, he will say, there's one woman I respect and I love, Padamasisi. I used to sit there. So Dumile was that kind of a person that I used even to say sometimes to her, Dumile, awuko wale dolophu usuka kuyo ngomama bakho, say where do you come from? Because there are Matezas in Bengu, Lady Frey. There are Matezas eTsomo, when usuka phi. Sungixelela ngecarriot ibhayi or ntoni sunxa usuka phi Dumile kuba kaloku kufuneka ukhuthi xa uzithutha ukuhamba ugoduke hey ningamaqaba mona ngoku umuntu usezelelwe edolophini eKapa usazibiza ngelali ndithi mna ndiyayazi ithambo labazali bamapho liphuma khona wena ungixelela ngabantu abebefisha no farmmen basemaplazini. And we will do that, to such an extent. Ngoku semkile uEdward Griffiths semkile umvuzo. Semkile uWebster yangunzimande. Things started not to be good. I don't want to be emotional. Nada. You are still in the top of SABC. Good people at SABC abagcinwa. They are thrown out as a toilet paper. SABC, I'm just worried to madoda kakho because kamandi nomadoda ngowasekomani. Uzikhali ngowapha uNdlovukazi. I wish SABC can realize and understand the talent that they are losing day by day of not recognizing them. People that could have helped this place to go bigger than this. Dumile is one of the people that tried to knock each and every door. I wrote something on Facebook in the city. He's hitting the wall. The management became the walls of Jericho ezingawiyo. And Dumile will stand up and say, hey, Mona, the SABC sport yenu. And you couldn't do anything. We fought to such an extent. I still remember sometimes when Dumile couldn't get imali zakhe azifune SABC sport. And I would go and fight, fight physically and talk to people in a way that I will even go to finance the demand imali zika Dumile because he has worked. If Nada, also that issue of January to March, where the freelancers don't know where they belong, whether they are getting umsebenzi or not. If you are going to release them, can't you do it in November or in October than bringing them to a pain of knowing that they are losing their jobs in February?
Kunobob waya ke lo. Waziwa nguHlawudi. uHlawudi yamhlonipha njengoba engabahlonipha abanye abantu nje uyamhlonipha unoBob waya lo. I think makesifumana ingoma. And that is why ndikhweca uzwa ibala nje nophinda mtya. ke sithobe msasi lamazwi kaNobob Wire. In the house ndiyenda notice then inxolele bethuna bangaba izpecs zam ziniphosile nemask zenu. Ndiyenda notice uEugene Zwane usonwabile kandamase faku siyavuya lapha nawe. And uJabu Mnyakeni, and of course uNdebe ngokwakhe. Lunga Williams. Khuluwa ndiyavuya ukubona. Nini abandenza nami ndafunga ndathi ngenye imini ndawuze ndivele kwi-TV naserayidweni noDumile apho. Zwayibala unkabi phesha pya. Over to you.
Ungoqamata sonini na nini umveli nqange isiqalo nesiphelo ungoqamata sonini na nini umveli nqange isiqalo nesiphelo kakuvumbe wena akekho ngathi hayi kakuvumbe wena akekho ngathi hayi kakuvumbe wena akekho ngathi hayi kakuvumbe wena akekho ngathi hayi
It is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well. It is well. It is well. It is well with my soul. Thank you. Thank you. One of the people that worked very closely with Dumile, particularly during the era when Dumile was mostly seen ringside, in boxing tournaments, and sometimes esebenza nengqungqumba napha ya kwaChezi uDixie Ngula, was the time when Nonde Balfour, please check his tribute out.
Takata, Eshapaya, Takata, Eshapaya. The only boundary Wabu Yunkan, Babuya Isha, Baba Yakia. Our native child. If you compare like this,
Tackle from behind to Temba Mguni. Some papers are Mushaya. Yellow card is off money, red card, Goku. Yellow card, Yasmini got Temba Mguni. Yellow card, red card. Hep, no, you shall be chasing Temba Mguni.
It made him so unique that you would not want to listen to any commentator. You would want to listen to Dumile. Lala. Most people really appreciated the commentaries that Dumile. They made him the CEO of boxing to change that act first. And Dumile walked with me on that journey. He loved going to parliament to convince EMPs yoba aniyazi le nto siyenzayo nominister. Lunch xa siphumayo ke ndoda kuba sisityi lunch emva uba singene kusasa siyahamba ecaleni kwam athi hey Minister unjani Dumile sundiculela qala imithi ngathi hayi makandifuna nabaveri Mateza Dumile asizange zoyicula. Very uniqueness, very unique in knowing boxing, very unique in commentary about sport and particularly boxing. Very, very unique. If anybody could do what Dumile could do, they'll make the award. And now I want to make it Dumile was one of the best.
And we'll never forget him.
So rest in peace. Amba Dumile, Amba Nala, Amba Kwesti.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me invite to the podium the newly appointed Chief Operations Officer at Boxing South Africa, Mandla Ntlanganiso.
Mandizibulisele kumntu wonke lapha ekhaya. Ndiqale kusapho lakwaMatheza, izihlobo, izalamane, izikhulu zalapha kwa SABC, nawo wonke umuntu omkhulu okhoyo lapha ngaphakathi. Ndizothi all protocol observed kuchiwo kapha eSouth Africa. Andizobamde. Andazi ba ndizoqala kweliphini icala. Kodwa ke mina ndiyena nethamsanqa lokuthi ndisebenze noBradumza. Bendimbiza Bradumza. Si-appointwe noBradumza ngo-2011 kwi-board ye-Boxing South Africa by the then Minister of Sports, Umbalula. The younger Razzmatazz, the original Razzmatazz, nguBradumza. That's the real Razzmatazz esiyaziyo. Le kambaks intsha ithi qinguku. Sisevile noBradumza very, very well under the stewardship of Utata uNgcondeleni Qubomamelapha as the chairperson of the board. uBradumza was not only as a commentator, yes, sport. He's also an administrator, uBradumza. Goba uke wanikwa as an acting CEO, National Boxing Control Commission, where he was responsible for the transition from the old commission to the newly introduced Boxing Act of 2001. So uBradumza played a very critical role there to make sure that boxing move from the old act is to a new Boxing Act, a Boxing South African Act. He was very instrumental in terms of developing this act to uBradumza. During my tenure naye uBradumza, ndisebenze naye kakhulu ngoba besiseva kwi-subcommittee ye-board ekuthiwa yi-sanctioning committee. Yonke i-fight enibonayo eTVini ekhoyo i-approve yi-sanctioning committee. uBradumza ke was the chair of that committee. And what is amazing uBradumza is that the detail that he had about each and every boxer. Even boxers that are unrated, Upradumza will have vast knowledge about those boxers. Upradumza will even give you the amateur history of that boxer. Ungayazi ukuthi, where did he get this information? It's true that Upradumza was a researcher. He did not go to any meeting unprepared. Yonke meeting abe attend Upradumza, abe to make sure prepared, because the information abe kunika yona in each and every sport, selungokola nje naye in general. He was one of the persons abe sazi sport, i-date, nexesha, nalapho ibidlala khona lo match. He was one of the persons nyani isport ebesithanda. Lo mama usuka apha uthethile Chawe ethetha ngequality. Radio in general, the quality of commentary, the quality of broadcasting, I think is taking a dip. I don't know what can be done in order to maintain or surpass the standard ebesikade sikhona in the past. Ngoba nowadays, it's very rare that you will get abantu that are shining stars, like Upradumza, that you can mention. Ngoba wonke umuntu othetha apha uthetha ngentoba he was really a superstar in what he was doing. It's something that we need to look at as a country. In almost everything that we do nowadays, the quality is dwindling. It's something that we need to look at. Dithethe ngeboxing le ndikuyo currently, that Dinganthobela the Rose. You were the ones who brought boxing to be where it was. But nowadays, the quality of boxing is going down. What is happening in South Africa nowadays? It's the question to the young people that are in leadership. It's the question to the young people that are athletes to see ingxaki iphi going forward. Upradumza ke was one of the persons that xa udebate naye, you must be sure of your story. Otherwise, uzokrazula Upradumza. You don't just debate nonala ungasazi story sakho on any topic. You need to make sure indoba le topic ungenana kuyo noPradumza, you are well versed on what you are talking about. These are the skills that we need to learn as the younger generation. Ngoba kuthi kulula uveske ungene endaweni or ungene entweni ube ungenayo the vast knowledge yalento kuyo. Preparedness in whatever that you do. Those are basic skills. Ekuthiwa they were not fully trained journalists, but the quality that they produced in their time, no Putlunga, it's out of this world. But now we've got fully trained people for 4 years, 5 years in a university, but still the quality does not even come close to what was done by our veterans. It's something that we need to look at. Upradumza ke a multi-linguist. Very rare that you can get someone. Ngoba ucommendate, I believe that it's not just an easy job. But you do it perfectly in English, you do it perfectly in Afrikaans, you do it perfectly in isiXhosa. It's a rare talent that we had. Upradumza, once again, Working Sports Encyclopedia. I believe everyone is saying that. Akho sport ebengasazi, akho mntu ebengamazi, andazi besenza njani. Ingathi unebhati naveske ayixofe, uveske kurane nje i-information, ngoba some of us, you just need to go to Google first. But Upradumza, it was easy for him to just give you the history and the profile of that particular boxer or any athlete. Decorated, flamboyant commentary, ciao. Very rare, singafumana abantu who can surpass that standard nowadays. Upradumza did that excellently. He was not only a broadcaster, but he was a giant in broadcasting. Young at heart, Upradumza. I liked kakhulu ke eza sessions there after meetings. Inguye noba uNgconde. Hey, those were lovely sessions. Umvecule ehlabela uPradumza. Alandela uba uNgconde kuculwe apha kube mnandi. Because he was young at heart. He used to say, let's work hard, but again, let's play very hard. So that sizokwazi ujela siyi-team. Because if you don't gel, it's going to be even very difficult intoba nikwazi uresolve ii-challenges eninazo apha ekomitini. Once again, thina nowadays, kwiikomiti esikuzo Chawe, kwimibutho esikuyo, sibethana nangezitulo. But uPradumza, you will differ with him. But after the meeting, he will continue with a smile. Because it was not only about the personalities, it was the issues on the table that had to be dealt with. Kodwa nowadays, silekana ngezankembe, because we can't resolve issues in a boardroom situation. It's something that we need to look at. The wisdom that uPradumza had, and I know ba ebe busy ngencwadi yesiXhosa, a researcher into zonongqawuse. He was very, very profound kwinto zesintu. Andazi ke ba iyophelela phi mhlambi ke konyana they need to take over in terms of finishing la msebenzi bewenza. Ngoba he was not only kwindaba yesport ebesithanda isintu nophuhliso labantu abamnyama, and his heart was very close to the poor. SABC, uPradumza thina sibazi sibancinci, sibamamele ereyidweni, sibabona kumabonakude. Nowadays asisayiboni i-boxing kumabonakude. Mhlawumbi ukhona uPradumza okhulayo safufusayo. Kodwa xa amanqindi singazowabona on national television, public broadcaster, kufuneka xa kuzodlala ifight, Mr. Williams, kuba una DSTV, funeka uhambe uye kwameza. Ifight ngelo xesha ziqala ngo-3 ekuseni, ziqala ngo-10 ebusuku. Where is our national broadcaster to make sure that the sport of the poor, boxing, is seen live on TV? Where is the national broadcaster, the sport that produced the likes of Abo Dingantobela, former world champions, Abo Welcome Ncita, Abo Jacob Matlala, Abo Tep Tep Makhathini, besibabone TV. Us as young people, we were inspired to see the rose of Soweto. We came into boxing. We are now administrators of boxing. Through that influence, what is it to be done going forward? Boxing SA is a public institution. SABC is a public institution. And I hope that going forward, something positive is going to come. However, Winston Churchill, Oti, pessimists sees a difficulty in every challenge, whilst optimists sees an opportunity in every challenge. And I hope Mamuochela, nesigqiba sakho, this challenge that we are having, this impasse of a dwindling sport in South Africa will be an opportunity to change the status, to be the game changers. And the partnership with SABC is the only way that will take us forward. South Africa is not short of talent. South Africa has got talent in each and every sport. You can even bring a foreign sport that we don't know called basketball. But you can go to Alexandra today. It will take you 6 months to get proper athletes who can compete internationally. Kwenzeke ntoni eSouth Africa? This is an opportunity kwisigqeba sakwa-SABC. Nathi bantu be-boxing silungise okwethu kuhlala. Ngoba akekho umuntu ozosimamela izinto zethu zingahambi ngendlela. Compliance, compliance, compliance. Corporate governance at the highest peak, so that u-SABC naye azokwazi usithatha serious. Sponsors, I'm sure, ready. Zisijongile into yoba senzani at this particular stage. Kodwa if siyakwazi ulungisa ukuhlala to take this country forward, sport, social cohesion. Sport, one of the major programs that can take us forward when it comes to social cohesion. Why sport is taking a back seat nowadays? I know there's a lot of competition out there. There's entertainment that has engulfed our societies. There's no longer proper activities in our schools. School sport is dead, particularly in the African schools. For your child to get involved in sport, which Pradumza was so much passionate about, kufuneka umthathe umse esikolweni sabantwana abamhlophe. Ngoba kwezethu izikolo akukho kwa ifield le yodlala. That's South Africa for you. What is it that we are going to do? Senior sport administrators who are charged to make sure that the sport goes forward. But nowadays, izinto zibuyele emva. Let us be optimistic. Let us not be pessimists. Let's work together to take this country forward. Uyabulela uChama. Enkosi.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mandla Nhlanganiso, thank you so much, Mandla. Let's give him another big round of applause. Okay, we're going to try and move a bit faster now. This passion, Kamateza, to make sure that we have in one editorial meeting, our top sport is saying top sport with Abo Martin Locke and Nababantu. By the way, Ubra Pet is here, Pet Mahumo, why had a blow by blow Abba, and Tabile Mabaso, also ex-facility coordinator at Henley Studios, is here. And at one editorial meeting, those editorial meetings, as in Balegela to Mateza, Mafani Fnegoze with editorial meetings, chaps, because Paya, we check the terminologies of various sports. When you score in rugby, it's a try. When you score in football, it's a goal. When you score in boxing, it's a point. When you score in cricket, it's a run. It's very important that you don't confuse Ezozi into chap. And so he had an opportunity to make a presentation, and then the presentation is bilingual, course, and one old manish white chap would say, sorry, Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt. I hear Mr. Mateza over there. He keeps saying pressure power, pressure power. What is this nonsense about pressure power? Mateza says, no, Mr. Chairman, the chap doesn't understand. It's not pressure power, it's pressure power, meaning over there in Kosa. Agadi in Kosa, in Kosa. Means over there in Kosa. Ladies and gentlemen, let me invite now, we're getting close to the family. I'm going to invite one of the family friends present here to come and deliver a brief tribute. Mongezi Ntsokolo. Please welcome Mongezi on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor to have a few words this afternoon. Firstly, let me greet our dear director of the program, Upatko Mafani. Indeed, it is befitting that we have you as the director of this program. Sitting there, listening to you, performing your duties, just reminded me again how many commonalities and qualities that you have similar to Bradumza. So thank you very much for your act. Thank you very much, sir. Okwesibini ndizekhayeni lika Bradumza. Ndiqale ngosisi Maxoli and the two daughters, uThuthula noNandi. I would also like to say to that family, lalani ngenxeba, akuhlanga lungehlanga, eneneni isitya esihle asidleli. Hlalani nithembele enkosini nale intlungu nikuyo, bekuhambeni kwexesha izawudodobala kube ngcono. May God give you power to endure your pain and give you peace and strength beyond this point. To all the people who are participating in the program and in this auditorium, I would like to thank you dearly for taking time out and for caring for Bradumza and his family. And early, so I didn't have time to cast my eyes on the audience, but I'm sure a lot of Bradumza's friends are here. I do know that some of them will honor and bless him on Friday. Kodwa konke umuntu okhoyo namkelekile siyabulela. I stand here today to speak about Bradumza on behalf of family friends. I'm also aware of some of the friends who have asked for a special audience, as Maxoli, to come to the family to express their condolences, but I'm sure that will be taken care of offline. Talking about Bradumza, he was a very talented and brilliant man in many respects. And a lot of people before me have spoken fondly and accurately about him. I got to know Bradumza around the late 1980s when he was staying at Deep Kloof Extension, working for the SABC. He was a good friend of my late brother, Ace Ntsokolo, who was also working for SABC at the time. And they used to spend a lot of time together with the other friends at Deep Kloof Extension, and some of them are here. When I befriended Bradumza, personally now, not through my brother, in the early 2000s, he was quick to remind me that I'm young, because he was a friend of my elder brother, and that I must always stay like that. That, of course, did not bother me at all, because in our culture, as you all know, friends of your elder brother take the status of your elder brother, and they become ubuti nosisi, and that continued until he passed away. Bradumza, as I said, was knowledgeable and articulate on many spheres of life, and I will just take a few moments and mention a few. Some of them have already been mentioned, so I won't dwell a lot. The first passion I want to talk about, again, it came out with the previous speakers, is Bradumza's love of the history of the Xhosas and the African people. He made sure that he reads as many books as possible. And whenever we were gathered, he would quote the great isiXhosa writers, and in each book and for each writer, he will tease out what stands out for him. He would quote O.A.C. Jordan, Ingqumbo Yeminyanya, and what the book is about. He would quote of J.R. Jolobe in terms of Ngawikiwe Lila Namavo. He will quote of S.K. Mqhayi, Ukubandandazile, Buzane Kubawo, Ityala Lamawele. He will quote Enoch Sondonga, the great missionary who penned down the first stanzas of Umhobe Wesizwe, Unkosi Sikelele Africa. Bradumza will go on for hours telling people about the great wars that the Xhosas fought with the English along the Eastern Cape frontiers, and also how they fought the Afrikaners in the Boer War. He will get livid, and I'm glad that I hear he was even considering writing a book about it. He would get livid about Ndokose, how he sold out the Xhosa nation in making them slaughter all their cattle based on a dream that she believed she had for a better future. And indeed, Bradumza will do this laughingly, accurately, and passionately. With the same amount of passion and research, and again, this was emphasized, Bradumza ebenga fluffy. He would do his research and read books and make sure that his facts were accurate. He was conservant with all sports codes and was comfortable in commentating in all of them. He will tell you about the left hook of the great boxer, Happy Boy Mqhaji from Dansane. He will tell you about Danny Gerbe's step and break with the Springboks. He will talk about Dr. Khumalo's Shibobo with the Kaizer Chiefs, and will finish off Badko with the cricket commentary. Yaqenqeleka lo bhola phesheya phaya. That was Bradumza for you. All-rounder, well-researched, accurate, and factual. Bradumza also had a significant gift with his high-pitched voice that always reminded me of the French opera tenor Luciana Pavarotti. There is a song I thought I asked to be played. I don't know if you managed to arrange it, Sis Mandy. In my 60th birthday, he was a guest at home, and he rendered that rendition. And it was a moving, spontaneous and original performance. I don't know if we'll have to hear it, but to me that was his last goodbye to his friends, to me, and my friends and my family. He used to tell Mrs. Matloli that he was thinking of recording and releasing a song with his two daughters. I don't know how far that dream has gone as well. And when he's happy, he will burst out in a song or sometimes sing along with one of the great blues singers like the OJs, the Commodores, and all of those songs. Now, bringing close my tribute, I just want to summarize the three things that stand out for me from Bradumza. The first one is his love for this country and his family that he cared deeply about. He never spoke a lot about his family to his friends, or at least not to me. But his actions spoke louder than words. For instance, in one occasion, Usis Magloli and the daughters came to drop Bradumza off to a group of friends that we were sitting together. And I asked if the family was coming back so that I can meet them and introduce myself. And he replied that no, they were not coming back. They had some errands to do. And that he doesn't want to inconvenience them. He will take an Uber back home, or will ask one of the friends to actually drop him back home. That I remember vividly, because to me that was a demonstration of how he valued his family beyond his friends, and beyond fun and company of friends. Second takeaway was the fact that Bradumza was a great reader and a great researcher. And I think that has been repeated more than once in this occasion. No one gets to accumulate such wealth of knowledge in so many spheres of life without applying yourself and setting time to go and research and read. I think it was Brapol earlier on saying, Bradumza will even go and buy a book if he is to commentate on that particular subject. Such was Bradumza. Research, read, make sure that you are comfortable with your area of responsibility. With him, of course, this came a more natural, because he had a natural flair and he was brilliant by himself. So he could deeply understand those areas of interest. One reminder again was Bradumza always, when he commentates, will give you something that is not common and something that you'll think that is irrelevant to the story. Like someone was saying, he will tell you, ba gunyana kabani lo business yabo benzandoni bazalelwe phina o brother babo ngobani bakhulelepi. Ordinarily, or at first glance, you think that that is not important in terms of the game, of the rugby, of the cricket. But he's demonstrating to you that he's got a depth beyond just the surface, and that he's gone deeper in preparing for that commentary. Lastly, number 3, Bradumza lived his life to the fullest. We cannot blame him. He really enjoyed himself. He participated in areas of life that gave him joy and fulfillment. He first pleased himself and satisfied himself before trying to satisfy others. For example, his love for debate. If Bradumza was to debate, he will change the conversation to talk about what he wants to talk about. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. When he gets a gap, he will direct you to talk about what he talks about. His love for music. He did not need to be invited, for instance, to sing in occasions. He'll simply go to the mic and ask the chairperson, can I render an item? And he'll sing with passion and vigor. And when his mood and feelings are right, he will just carry on belting it out. That was Bradumza for you. Coming close to my wrapping up, I believe that as family friends of Bradumza, if you can follow some of the lessons that Bradumza lived, we will also be happier and more successful in our different walks of life. In Bradumza, we lost a friend, a brother, a father, and a husband. We lost an orator of a high caliber who always socially and emotionally connected with what he was doing. To the family of Bradumza, relatives and friends, please be comforted by the knowledge that Bradumza lived his life to the fullest. It is God who gives life, and it is also He who takes it. Nothing happens without God's approval. Kuthi sonke usisikele umda apho soze siqithe khona. Ngalo mazwi ndithi thuthuzelekani akuhlanga lungehlanga.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mongezi Ntsokolo, family friend, let's give him a big round of applause, please. Thank you. I think everybody in their house has got a story to tell about Dumza and singing. Actually, when at the time they would come to the SABC by train from Soweto and Botlike Braamfontein and walk from Braamfontein station to Auckland Park, ubeyicula yonke la ndlela uDumza. Bafike SABC Ngabi phesha pya. Oh wow, man. Kunqumbana ngathi nguBaby J kunkabi phesha pha xa mjongile. Mjonga pha la gown yakhe brown. Phosa ngenqindi lasekhohlo eqhoko nqanqindi lasekhohlo pha phesha pha esondela kanye kwi-infighting. Apa kanya good khona apa kwi-infighting kunkabi. Wow, let's give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Remembering Dumza from a boxing perspective. Well, at a time also when we've also lost one of the former champions in South Africa, Umfoka Makhali, you know, what a coincidence. Thank you so much. Siyabulela. Another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Lendo yokucula kukaDumza. Some of the friends in the house will remember there was a time I lived in Yeovil, when Yeovil was a suburb. Kusagcwele abelungu ngoko bodwa eYeovil. And I lived in a flat, number 1 Railway in Court, eYeovil. But the flat kwakuthiwa kuseBhayi. And all my friends from the Eastern Cape, abanye babefumana induction phaya eBhayi. And so we had our friends, sihlale siyobathatha phaya eJubilee residence, phaya friends zethu, sihlale nazo phaya eflatini kube mnandi. Mateza would come there. Don't worry, Maxolo, this is way back. Mateza would come and sort of try his luck by charming esisitoko esifikayo sivele vets. Umfana kuthiwa nguMabones, uThando Martin would be our DJ, and he would play nice tunes. He would play End of the Road. Hey, Mateza, aqonda no man. Iyashota lento yalo End of the Road odlala nge-CD. Angamzisa and bring the End of the Road thing to life. Hey, ayithathe uMateza to the end of the road, but I can't let it go. It's unnatural to belong to me. I belong to Chonga. Ayibethe uMatheza ngalabhokhwe yakhe. And ke ngoku le genge ivele vets, they are like, yo, hayi lo tata. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring one of your chap, zikaMatheza. Tsana, yiza ngaphambili mhlekazi. Litha Nkombisa. He'll take the end of the road story further, no Matheza. And he actually knows more about the end of the road story more than I do. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Litha. Ulitha represents ichomi zikaMatheza zonke, from umkhulu waundebe, you know, to Otriko and many others, the chomi zikadumza. Tsana, over to you, chap.
Thank you, Batko. I'm worried about telling the story of End of the Road because ukolisa undikhuphela amehlo amakhulu pha. Waiting for me ba dibhatyaze. But first things first, good afternoon everyone. Molo Koliswa, nawe Tuthula noNgqawuse, nawe Nandi, naku family yonke yakwaMatheza from eKaredio, yongena eTinarha, yoqhina Lady Frey. Ban be mention Lady Frey. Bavele Lady Frey, I'll show you now bavele Lady Frey oMatheza. Nalapha eGauteng. Upatko uthi ndiyichomi kaMatheza. I'm actually not ichomi kaMatheza. I'm everything to Matheza. Matheza ngutatam, kubhuti wam, family yam, into yonke kum. So he's more than just a chap. I just also want to correct a couple of stories, Apa, which are not congruent to how I know the stories. Because I've been running with these stories for more than 30 years. So I'm surprised about SAPC, zijikiwe with story. So one of the stories, besithethwa apha kuthiwa uMatheza utrainer ezinye presenters esport, that's not what I know. The story that I know is that many years ago, uMatheza wabizwa off-scene, sports GM, Matheza, you are so good, you are so valuable to us. Sicela ube yi-manager yabantu abenza sport eTV. Uba train. So double-isha umrholo wakho. uMatheza, hey wavuya ke, but wacinga ba hey, there's a critical thing here that I just need to find out. Wabuza Prawesta, no, I'm just using you as a hypothetical example. Ndizaphuma eTV. Kwathiwa kaloku Matheza wena uyi-manager yabantu abaphuma eTV. Akuzuphuma wena eTV. Wathi hayi kanti ndi-right kalo mrholo wam. Leave it. Ndi-right nalo mrholo wam. Ndiyekeni. So yonke le nto nithetha apha andiyazi mna nada at all. I don't know. Let me go back to the beginning. A lot of people have taken all my words, bawatye wonke, but zikhona into endingazaziyo ezaziwa ndim qha. So ndizanibetha phaa kuzo. So I first met Dumile Mateza in the late 80s when I was a student, destitute, underprivileged student at Wits. Ichomi yakhe enkulu bahlamba nomqolo yayinguJohn Butityi-Nkonki waseTinarha. Mna ndivele eTinarha, just for the record. Plus knows why. As mentioned by Upatko, igama lam ndinguLitha Nkombisa, ndinguDzana, ndingutseketsa, ndingumkhithingoma, ndingungxabalala, ndingukhatsini, ndingumasengwe. So uJohn Nkonki undivela usizi apho manje ndivizithela unike 20 rand, ne10 rand, ne50 rand. But there's this one big day. They came on a Saturday morning. Bathi Nxiba siyobukela iPirates and the Chiefs. Never seen iPirates and the Chiefs in real life except for a TV. Bandithatha bandilayisha emotweni. And by the way, Dandivunywa based on uhamba nabasasazi pha eVets. Kuthiwe yiwo litha ufikele ngabasasazi masimvumeni on the spot. So anyway, so bandithatha bandisa kwimatch yePirates, but asinamatikiti. We've got nothing. But njengoba singena apha kwi-security, excuse me, all the way to the super suite. No, akho tikiti nix. I-security guards ziyakahlela. Yeah, mhlekazi. And that was the beginning of my friendship with Dumile Mateza and his family. And I want to apologize to Tutola for calling her ngoxolo, because Mateza, uhleli nje ulilizela ngalo ngoxolo, ngoxolo this, ngoxolo that. Dayijika ndayifaka kuwe, but I'm taking it away. No more. Yes. So there's another story here that I want to tell you. And I'm not going to mention names because I'm just worried about state capture and all those things in Zenzagai. So Mateza used to work for a state-owned enterprise. And he was in charge of the in-house radio station. In fact, it's the biggest state-owned enterprise in South Africa. So zonke radios were announcements, CEO addresses. Mateza is the boss of this whole thing. But Mateza uyayithanda iTV. So we are moonlighter on Saturdays, match Pirates and the Chiefs. But uphanga lapha official uyapaya nge-25. But on Saturdays, pa. So uMvulu ubizwa yi-executive yale unit yakhe. Ithi Dumile, chap, I was with my daughter on Saturday. My daughter was saying, Daddy, is this not your friend that works with you at that state-owned enterprise? I chile nyan lom for TV. Nangu Mateza pa. Dr. Kumalia waster, and so on and so on. So at Mateza, we want all your attention here because you are good for us. I don't want to see you in my TV niam. Mateza, why don't you switch the TV off? Switch the TV off. So ufuna viewer pa. So Mateza yaziwa CEO yalapha. Ufuna CEO iphaka la kona ne le chap le lapha. Mateza ufuna viewer la CEO ba ulwa nalo mfo. Switch it off. Aphuma apha emnyango. Ashaya into up. Switch it off. Switch it off. Dumile ke lo. So another thing endingayaziyo endingayithethanga apha is that about 5 years ago, I told Uxoliswa and the girls, Dumile sent me incwadi yakhe ayibhalayo about his life, his ups and downs, zase SABC, for safekeeping. It's 55 pages of riveting stuff into ezenzeka apha SABC. From where he comes from, to his encounters zalapha, his passage zalapha. It's all ilapha kum. And it is just fascinating stuff. Designika uxoliswa, that's a book, guys. Uyabona ba ezinye indawo bengakagqibi. The name of the book is Talk is Cheap by Dumile Mateza. So ezinye indawo bengakazigqibi. So ezinye topic, for example, Meneer Mateza, yes, Kombase, I don't know what that means. Annie van Wyk, Dr. Ali Bach, A Passage to India, Barcelona, Dan Security, Zolani Bong, and the other so Zolani Bong. The Rainy Day and the argument with the Supreme Court judge at Newlands. But just to give you a sense of Mateza Balandoni up, I just want to read an extract. Anzayifunda yonke. Yabona mos andi printanga zo 55, printe nje le ndawo ndifuna ifunda. So Don't worry. And it explains ba uMateza uyithatha phi lento yakhe ye commentary. Okay, so ndikhe sikwini ke. So Mateza ke lo. Ziphi izibhek zami? Hey guys. Okay, now it's okay. When I came to Loyiso in 1974, I enrolled in late March, to be exact, after the Easter holidays. I was then drafted into a packed class where I had to find a place to sit for myself. This is what black schools had to endure during the roaring 70s. So I want to skip to, because I want to get to the point. This class was seen as backwards because the clever kids were in class A and class B, Form 1A, from 1A and Form 1B, Kuchumateza. Then a time came for your orals, and everyone was carrying on about a journey by train, my dog Ginger, because they wanted to test your proficiency in English. Mateza, why jongo? But you know what? And in one of the clips here, interviewed, I think, by one of the people, he mentions this thing. The year was 1974, was a somber year for rugby in South Africa. Willie John McBride of the British Lions was touring South Africa, and they had just soundly beaten the Springboks in the third test at Boot Erasmus. An idea came to my mind. I'm paraphrasing now, I'm not reading. I decided to do orals using commentary of rugby. And uMateza wafika stage in eklasini, wa commentator ngesingesi irugby bidlalwa ngeweekend. Wanikwa u-A. And the rest is history, maqela. The rest is history. So, to go back to the early days, no Mateza wayehlala at Dara House. Upulunga. Kuthiwa kukhona. Oh, hey! And this is the destitute student. Mateza uhleli nje nenyama ekwi-deep freeze. Ihleli nje iyavutha phakathi estovini, iyalanda, ovenini. Nje benibukele nje inyama iyatsho yona. So nditya phaa ke because andinayo indawo yokuya. But the most fascinating thing, abana bebephuma bengena phaa kwaMateza at Dara House, ngabantu abakhulu. Ii-weekends zam mna ndandizityela kwaMateza. Kwafika ichap ekuthiwa nguLunga Williams yaseBhayi ephuma eTVini. Yasithatha la chap yasa eflatini yayo ekwi-rooftop. Ndafika phaa kulaa rooftop, ne? Amacheri amaninzi. Akho zinto zingekhoyo. Yazi le nto kuthiwa into le nto ikhoyo ngoku, iblessa nentoni. Hey, kwakuthe saa apho i-whisky, dibala ntoni. And akho mntu nditshajayo, kuthiwa, no, sela chap, kwapho setinarha. No, hlala phantsi. Ufuna ntoni? Hey. It was just fascinating into eyayisenzeka ke apho. And then down the road from Dara House, kwakho i-record store, thengisa ama-record ne-CD. Kwakuthiwa yi-Kohino. Xa uhlala eBhayi okanye eTinarha, wawu-order eKhohino, kufika unoposi ne-record lakho. But we used to walk there noMateza. Sifike phaa uMateza enikwa ipacket ye-CD. Mwana kwangena ii-CDs. Anikwa ipacket ye-CDs. Angabhatali. Hey, ndiqonda ndifuna uba nguMateza mna. Angabhatali nesenti, kuthiwe muzimamele, if you like them, keep them, if akuzifuni buyisele. That's where we found out uMateza ingoma zakhe azithandayo ne-artists zakhe, that his favorite was the Pet Metheny group. Ngaba abantu badlala i-guitar bahlabelayo at the back. Ukuhlabela, I think, ukuthathe phaa. Nala chap uBobby McFerrin uhamba no-Chick Corea edlela ipiano. Laa nto kaChick Corea uMateza uyithathe phaa kulaa mfo. Umbona ehlabela nje. So those were the good days. There were things that were very sad in our journeys noMateza. One day, ndiyahamba apha noMateza siyobukela iSuper Rugby eLoftus. Kudlala, I think Bulls with some, maybe Crusaders, I can't remember. Stay ingekaqali 10 minutes kwangena icall. BaMateza, khawuleza uphuthume ugoduke. Kukho intlekele eyenzekileyo. Xolisa, I'm sorry to raise this thing. uMateza athi, no, hlalani nina. Ndanifonela. uMateza left. Kanti unyana kaMateza drowned, wasweleka. It was extremely sad. But you know, the reason why I'm raising this thing, Koliso, is that uMateza was so strong for a family yake. I mean, none of us could handle any of that grief. But uMateza stood there, protect the family yake, and that episode passed. And uMateza now has a beautiful family. O Tutula, o Ndokose, o Nandi, Dibalandoni na. Yeah. There's another story. I just want to get away from Lendo said Zawlila Ngok. I just want to quickly move off. I'm looking for things that's not up. So there's another problem with stories. Aramis ne Ted Lapidas and Gastalelanga up. Ted Lapidas story. uMateza zangabone into yakhe short apha eBathroom. Esekileni most Ted Lapidas and it's got a unique smell up. Jebe drive up uMateza uyayinukisa. Khona umuntu oqabe Ted Lapidas up. That's how we found out why nukisa esekileni kudrive. So I just want to correct that part. Yeah, Ted Lapidas. And then Patko was busy zonke ezinye izinto. So another thing that Mateza did for me and my family, mna ndaswelekelwa ngutata apha eKwaZulu Natal. So andiyazi mos umsebenzi uphathwa njani onjalo. uMateza wakhwela aeroplane nam. Sahamba so identify umzimba. Dama phandle mina kwangena yena apha because andifuna ujonga kwenza kantoni. Then kwacaba hey sawuthini ngokusamncabela plomfo. Hayi masimncabele eDurban. Le chap ihamba bicawa asiyazi. Sibangabuze ifamily hey akho mntu yazi. uMateza wafonela eTopia. uMateza ngumvangeli omkhulu wapha. Wafonela eTopia kusathunyelwe emlazi kanti kubantu mfundisi bantu wayesetinaga like dala. Safika emlazi sawuthana lo mfundisi. Icawa ayinazitulo. Ingca ingangam. I-toilet yaqhubula usebenza ngo1970. Umfundisi wavuma we to go and get izitulo ezimhlophe zaseholweni. We had to go and get a lawnmower to mow the whole thing and fix the toilet. Kwaphuma abantwana balapha elokishini kwaPM emlazi. Bezojonga le toilet igunqulayo because they've never seen a toilet working ever in their lives. That was Mateza. And then Mateza presided over lamncwabo. Before, of course, Yambege, Shiocho Hilton for after tears, which is something else. Then one last very funny story. Hey, Mateza. So one day Mateza is visiting Nano Mnetis. Mnetis was his roommate yamke. So I apake Mateza like more angena pendlini. Avule apha uyasigezela it date 15th ka I don't know the month. You know xa upheka nge25 it date 15. Yo, it was extremely difficult. Avule fridge nitya ntoni apha? Avule kukho itswele pha elintshula ingcambu le moisture lapha le fridge. There's nothing else. Yo, let me take it out. Come, it's on. Hey, uyasikhupha ke Mateza because uyasibona uba sihlelelekile. Sithi xa siphuma imoto kaMateza is not there. Kule ndawo epake kuyo. Sihlala in a complex. Hey, where is the car? Hey, ibiwe le moto. Sithi xa sijonga phaa ezantsi kuya ngowelewele phaa. It turns out that Mateza forgot to unyusa i-handbrake. Imoto. So uyinyusile unyuso but like kancinci. Imoto yathi yaqenqeleka. There's a swimming pool, communal swimming pool. Yabetheka apha edongeni, yangena be-swimming pool yahla apha. So, and akwaziwa imoto kabani le, so kufike laa nto iyikhuphayo, iyayikhupha out. It was very funny, but you know that Mateza took us out for dinner? Mna nomncedisi, because sinetswele phaa efrijini. Kodwa imoto itshonile apha and imoto is damaged. That was Mateza for you. And then, andizohlala kakhulu apha Butpatko. Sis Mandi, I'm taking liberties here. I think, for me, I'd just like to thank a couple of people abasebenza behind the scene to make lo msebenzi ube nje nangolosihlanu, umsebenzi ngolosihlanu. The first thing I want to do is to thank the organizing committee led by Sis Mandisa Titi no Andangani. Andibonanga Anda, yes? Akekho? No Andangani, who came in. We formed a WhatsApp group, no Xoliswa. Hey, I'm sure we bombarded SMS. Xoliswa, you forgot 5 minutes to answer, please answer. But can I tell you that that committee, 2 o'clock, the SMS from Sis Mind, and there's Gulalwa Nini up, Ziangene, but Lita Ipile, but Ipi, where is this, where is that? Then in the back, Umabu Titi, in Tombiapa, Lays in Nini up, Dite Balek up. All the graphics that you see here, Yonke, she's behind the scene. And no fanfare delivery. Whether it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, we are yens. And then all supported by Uloyolo, Mateza, Unyana Wapai family, supported by Utokozani. But more importantly, Kukwabandu Abafake Galelo, over and above that, to make sure that we meet Yonke in Befunegai. I'd like to thank Stephen Mzuki Sitondolo, Chumyeta Setinacha, go Fakai Kalelo Apakuti. I'd like to once again thank Andangani, Galilile, Kwezim Temgenya, and the Titi family. Kaban Setinacha Bakapais, Bakalilil. No man is a Titi, Bakalilil. Then I'd like to thank Dr. Solomzi Nyimbana. Yazi uSolomon Zimbanda lanhlala naye men's rest eVets next door neighbor yami. Akaklevuza ngamacala. Nje ezinye iblacks zigxothwa pha yena uzike zonke 10 out of 10. He became a doctor, but more importantly he became a specialist. Umna noXoliswa were kept information kanye to explain to us kanye what must we do, what are the options with Mateza. Sizive ngoDr. Solomon Nyimbana. Not only that, she tell us, hey guys, sinida le, wafika uSolomon Nyimbana wakalela. Tukalela ke mnake. Yes, and then I'd like to thank Uzwai Bala no Pinda abebecula apha. Nabo banegalelo lo organizer in the background. Tina khana leyo. Timbizile uThokozane. And then other people aba contribute leyo. Usisantshona, chomi yethu enkulu, usincedile naye. Thembekile Xola ngaseBhayi, eBhayi ngaseTinarha. Na ufakile igalelo. Endingambizanga ndicela uxolo but ndibhalile ngibonile Mos Webster. Ndibhalile bangobani abo funeke babulelwe. Finally, kukho I legacy kaMateza that never gets mentioned. If you are driving on the N3 highway, on the left going north, kukho Alex. But phaa Alex, kukho izindlu phaa. Ezi zindlu zakhiwa nguMateza. Phaya affordable housing. Kuhlala abantu abanandi bayadlala ugqapsi phaa estratweni. Zizindlu zakhiwa nguMateza. Gabuni, we hosted the All Africa Games here in South Africa many years ago. I can't remember the year, chap. In hosting those All Africa Games, Mateza, what if forget about the hotel? Must apa South Africa World Cup nendon babaleka by hotel? No, we need to leave a lasting legacy. We're gonna build a village. We shall the athletes in a village, Once the games are over, kuzahlala abantu bethu pha aba amile etwini yezindlu ezingade zikhiwe. So they use that opportunity to create affordable housing for people, and it's still standing now. Kukho isalele dish pha abantwana bayadlala kumandi kuyahlekwa. Mateza lo, guys. So Xolisa and the girls, Mateza has, Mateza has achieved a lot in his life. Lento ayenzileyo yenziwa ngabantu who go to live until 100, but uyenze ngoku boom 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 boom. Yenzeka. So khanimyekeni manahambe mkhululeni. Thank you.
Thank you, Lita. We're going to go to the tribute to Sis Mandititi. The memorial is supposed to run until 5. So we are pressed for time a bit. But I need to read this one. I will be failing if I don't read this one. This is a tribute from Lunga Williams. Mkulua chose to send it to me to read. If there was a send-off that the state should have looked at, it is this one. A humble man Dumile Mateza was, and a knowledgeable man indeed. One cannot remember an instance where Dumile was caught napping. He had an answer, an immediate one, and a relevant one at that, to any inquiry. We will miss his knowledge. Ebegcwalisisitya ngamanye amazwi ebephaka uDumile. Kwabo bethu sisashiyekileyo kweli gada lihlabayo, it would help us to be like Dumile and have humility. Ukucaphula kwiqala losasazo neliseli kumhlaba obandayo uDambile Thuswa ubefudula esithi, I quote, kaloku impumelelo isentabeni kushiyanwa ngotyefezo, unquote. Kwintsapho yakhe yonke esezinyembezini sithi mayithuthuzeleke akuhlanga lungehlanga Lala ngoxolo nala. This message from one of our TV legends, Lunga Williams. As Usis Mandititi ascends the podium, Uzwa is going to play this tune, You Raised Me Up.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when trouble comes and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Thank you very much. Ndiyabulela Dikela. Molweni bethuni. Molweni endlini. Bekuthiwe so celebrate umambo kaDumisa. Hayi kodwa olusizi bethunana olapha. Ndibhidekile ngoku. Nindenza nami amadolo amatyhafi ngoku. Ndine scripture endithanda usikota apha endlini nam. I must say, asithandwa at all. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. Litha uthethile, but Dumile's friends in everything. Maxoli, qale ndibulisa wena sithandwa sam. Thanda uhlonipha uxoliswa inkosikazi kaDumile. Ndimbiza uMaxoli. Ndiyabona ke uBramongs was spending too much time around him. Wayibamba le nto kaMaxoli. Ngoba bona xa bemteketisa uxoliswa bathi Xuli. uMaxoli ligama lam. Ndiyakubulisa vuyo lwethu. Ufika uMaxoli ebomini bethu kumnandi. Mnandi hlala eCarltonville. Odumza bahlala phe eDeepkloof. Kusherwa indlu bebaninzi. Aqonde uDumza beyabona ngeweekends andihlali kwalapha. Iweekends zam ndispendele eCarltonville kwaMandi. I think that's why later on he became more than a brother. Okhwezi abebizwa apha. They know half about my life. They don't really know me, like Dumza knows me. When we're looking at the program, sizama ujonga uba so mna kuzawuthiwa ndithetha as what? Because family friend thathiwe. I-chaps, I'm not one of the chaps. So, umabi uAtha, but mama, kubhesti wakho nje Uncle Dumza. Ndithi, hey, you've got it. That's it, kubhesti. Let's talk about obhesti, guys. Besti, ayikho into egqitha ubhesti. Ubhesti can make or break you. Because ubhesti is that somebody who knows everything there is to know about you. That was Dumza for me. Ubhesti ngulaa mntu anihlebi mani nobhesti ya. Nihleba kwanto ephambi kwenu. Nihleba wena nkosikazi, nihleba wena Maxoli, nihleba wena Thuthula, nihleba wena Nandi, nihleba wena boss emsebenzini, nihleba wena business associate, nihleba qha. So, njengoba ndilapha nje, I'm sure njengolitha, inezinto lapha kuthi siyaziyo. One thing, Xoliswa, that made me happy, that makes me honor you. Ukuba nemasxa ubhesti wakho is single, ne? And you are used to into ba ufike endlini yakhe anytime, kumandi, you do as you please. Hey, what out to Dumza? Mandi, ndiyatshata. Hayi ke sana. Uvalo kum, ndaqonda uba, oh no. There goes our fun. There goes our moments. There goes our special moments. Because aloku ngoku uDumza utshatile, unoba uzawufika laa ntombazana afika athi, do you know what? Ngosisimani abatheni apha. Abasisi, kho laa nto mos basibizwa leyo kuthiwa abasisi. Qonda uba, hey, wabe futhi uMaXole emncinci, she's a decade behind up. Why am I singing and popping? Wabe uMaXole a decade behind us, ndaqonda uba yo, weske sana, nitshatelwe, like lamagqiyazana abancinci, abadlali, bayaza niqaqanisela. Ndaqonda uba hayi ke Dumza, phelele ke ngoku into yobuhlobo. Why ndisithi Maxole, I thank you. Wow, wow, what a woman, what a wife, what a mother to your kids. Jonga, hayi yafika laa nto, yavela flow, yangena apha yathi, oh okay, so ngubhesti wakho lo, ngubhesti wam, even more, even more. Actually, ndizawuxela apha kuye. Once wamesa apha endlini, uthini, andiyi kwenye indawo, andiyi kwaMatheza, andiyi ekhaya, ukhona ubhesti. Luzawungena apha emfutshane, afika athi uyabona Dumile. Yeah. Akakho kumntu bediscipline uMatheza njengam. And I shame, ebendinika laa ndawo torho uDumza, andifuna uphosisa. Because what a big heart. uDumza allowed us. He allowed us into his life. Wasinika esa space, so be my friend. Be here. Mna ke later, ndifuna ukuthi, I know your story, and I want to say, wow, in you, I've seen God. In your story, I've seen God. And xa kuthiwa show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Today, I know into the future abantwana kaDumile is very bright, because there's a friend, there are friends. And I do know, uDumza must be rich, and uDumza has died wealthy. Yabana ke funeka si understand into currency. Currency is not just little ching, currency. uDumza, his entire life, his entire being, was a world of wealth. Soze, ufundile apho Paul, watsho intoba, the children of the righteous will never beg for bread. You don't know those girls. You don't know those girls. South Africa, brace yourselves up. The Mateza girls are coming. To all those who undermined uDumile. Oh, let me also say, the beauty about later, about you being able to draw uJade into the fore, xa kusetyenzwa your daughter. And I think the blessing I have of Umabo being the kind of child who's got such a heart. Bezi girls bonke, they are a generation. Nada, Sol, our kids, we're single. Asukol Sizini, our girls, our children, they are going to be there for each other. Already my daughter is mentoring them in the broadcasting arena. Jonga, kaloku these kids bakhulele apha SABC. Nge-school holidays zabo, bateketa apha ibhotile semilonyeni bahlabenyuka kule SABC. Abayiqabuki le SABC. And you are not going to be able to shut people off. This is a public broadcaster. This belongs to all of us. By the way, ndingaba ndiyafeyila if I do not greet and acknowledge the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs. We gave ourselves that term. Sazibiza, i-dinosaurs. Bakhona apha ndimbona nobhunibhumisolile ukhona, bakhona. Sizibiza dinosaurs. What a treatment we get. What a treatment we get kule ndawo. But you know what? It's a public broadcaster, and I've got hope that one day Zawujika izinto nada. Zawujika izinto nada. Anibekwanga apha nje for ba they are big titles. Zawujika izinto. Hayi man, andizothetha yonke into benifuna uyithetha. Kodwa mandikubulele Mutsi Mfuleni. Mutsi Mfuleni ngumphathi omkhulu pha kula television channel ngoku kuthiwa yiMpuma Kapa TV, Bay TV. Ndiyakubulela, Xhamela. Ndiyakubulela. uThixo will return the goodness, the kindness oyenzele uDumza in his hour of need. Thixo mase uyabala uyagalela and akakubless directly. Uzakubless apha kwigeneration yakho. Ndiyafuna ukubabulela abantu baseTshwane TV. Tshwane TV ndiyabulela because what the SABC did not see in Dumza, both these small baby channels saw and appreciated in him. Ewe abangongxowa nkulu, but the heart is big enough. Nelo laseTshwane ibali lelinye okoko ke ndisebenza ndilapha eGauteng ngoku. I think uDumza kuye bekungathandi phangile. Phose bevela athi uDumza manje ku7 AM manje ndilapha eWestgate mandizolandwa. Qamba Dumza it's a weekday ndiyaphangela mina. Ndinentlanganiso nento. Manje ibhasi eGandhi ntontoni ekhoyo eza kwakho ngo6. Please ndithi mandizolandwa. I wish bendinokwazi ukuba ndiphelele nje ebumnandini. I wish. And I'm not saying yabona noPapayi undimoshele. Undimoshele noPapayi undimoshele. Ndinabantu ababini man mandingehle apha kuba ndiyoyika ukuba kube ngathi I'm failing Dumza as ubest wakhe. Ndifuna ubabulela la mantombazana amabini. Lamagqiyazana. Ndifuna ubulela nakhumbula mose uDumza the last project abenza SABC bengu rights and recourse. Kwabantu babini manje ndifuna ubabulela. Nothando, baby girl, wherever you are. Wow, thank you. Phatheka, apho ukhoyo, kuloo ndawo ukuyo. Ndimusho uNoPapayi manixolweni. Kuloo ndawo ukuyo Phatheka, I just want to say thank you. You know, so karma is not just a bitch. Karma is a super bitch. Thank you, Phatheka. Thank you, Nothando. Dumza, rest in peace, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mandisatiti Upesti Kamateza. Sis Mandi SABC iti manditi kuwe nice dress. Iti kubonile ngexesha umi apha stage SABC. Iti ma kanibetheleni izandla bethuna please. Well, we have a few tributes, I think two or so. I'm going to call upon Unandi Mateza Paya Kubachana. I'm going to call Unandi to come and do a tribute, the daughter, as a Ngapambil. And then after that, I'm going to go to Lumko. Ulumko kona? Kange lumbone. Oh, yeah, thank you. We're going to go to Lumko and then Sego Rose of Soweto. And then we will have come close to the finale. There's still going to be a finale here featuring Pindamja and Zwaibala. All right. Nandi, won't you come over here? Let's welcome Nandi, ladies and gentlemen. Ufunu zanaye, izanaye man. Izanaye. Iza naye so that nime nonke apha. Naba abantwana baka Raz Mataz. Ise iradio Xhosa ngoku nanisithi xa ndizaphosa eEllis Park Stadium, intambo zonke saziphosa eEllis Park Stadium ngoba uphaya kulaa mdlalo weOrlando Pirates neKaizer Chiefs uDumile Mateza umsasazi wethu pha. Intambo zonke kudumza, intambo zibahambe eRaz Mataz. Athi undibiza kamandi mfana kamafana xa usithi Raz Mataz. So sisuka kude ke nalento kaRaz Mataz. We know the original Raz Mataz. Ladies and gentlemen, the daughters, give them a big round of applause. And sebahle bantwana bam.
Hello. I don't want to stay up here for too long. These hills are killing me. Sorry. Anyways, I just want to say my dad was a really great person, and I really cherish and enjoy every moment that I ever spent with him. There's a story that I want to tell. It's just one, and then I'm gonna go. But there was a time where I was struggling in maths, and I needed his help. So I get home and I'm like, Daddy, can you please help me with my maths? And he's like, okay. So now I'm so lazy, like I don't wanna like try and answer the question. So I'm like, can you just give me the answers? So he's giving the answers. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get 10 out of 10. I'm gonna do amazing at school. I go to school, I got everything wrong. So I'm like, Haibo, what's happening? Why am I getting everything wrong? How is this possible? It's my dad, he knows everything. How can I wanted to cry. So then I got home and I wasn't talking to him. I was just like, hi. He was like, how was school? And I was like, it was fine. And then later on he was like, Nandi, what's wrong? And I'm like, I got everything wrong in math. And he's like, I'm sorry, Mtanam, I didn't know. Also me, Mtanam, I'm sorry, but I'm great in history. If you want anything in history, you must come to me. But ever since then, I never asked him for help in maths again. Yeah. I remember every time we went out, or wherever we went, his song End of the Road would play, and he would sing it at the top of his lungs. And I remember he would like be like, I'll never forget that face. And yeah, I just want to thank all of you for coming today. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, Nandi, I'm sorry, mntanam, utatakho wayengakwazi ukuthi into akayazi umthetho wakhe. So I'm happy that actually it hit right at home at some stage. So Zunala athi andiyazi. He would always have answers. Uzawubona wena buphuma kanjani. Thank you so much. Let me move to Lumko. I told you we pressed for time. Lumko Mtimde, representing the communications industry. Let's give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dad.
Mandibulise. Ndibulise uphathi uyathanda ke ukuthi athi ungumkhuluwa. So nangona siku same WhatsApp group kodwa ke mkhuluwa. Ndibulise usapho lakwanala. Mampinga nosapho lonke. Ndibulise wonke umuntu lapha endlini. Umandisa ke umoshilo wathi mandizothetha nge-industry. Kuba ndingumuntu uBradumza would think uyandihlupha. He did not even lose my number ever since when I was still a board member here, but he would still call me even recently. But wayengandihluphi because ndandincanca pha kuye. Because ulwazi olupha is such that if you ufuna ukwandisa ulwazi lwakho hlala noBradumza. He was not only a teacher, sports commentator, presenter, he had a say in the policy trajectory of the ICT sector. He was a man of brilliant ideas. Sit Nobradumza, he will share with you brilliant ideas. Unfortunately, some of which we could not be able to support there and then, and had we did, maybe a lot of things could have changed in the sector. I recall vividly the times when I was young, as a councillor at the IBA then, which is now ICASA, which was the first time I got the opportunity to directly engage with Upradumza robustly. You would never have an engagement naye that is not robust. Uza kubonisa uba wazi ukugqitha wena, and you will have to accept that. Kumnandi ke xa ukhulele emakhaya umkhulu wami uyazi yabona, njengoba besitsho usisi uba naye wamamela waye eklasini noba akazi uyazi umuntu omdala, so you just listen. We were always looking up to guidance and wisdom of abakhuluwa like the late Bramadala Mphahlele, Bra Treasure Shabalala, Butmandla Langa, Tamin Tendeni, Phil Mulefi, Brasnugi Zigalala, Jom Jwacha, Andile Ngaba, to mention a few. But of course, the one that always in my mind when he calls and say, "Can I meet you?" I try clear my space and find time to meet him. Subsequently, and more substantially and memorably, I interacted with him when we were developing the first and very contentious sports broadcasting rights regulations. Kwezi would not like me to elaborate on these regulations, so I won't, Kwezi. Later on, of course, when I was here at SABC, at the MDDA, USASA, and recently when I was at the presidency, you can imagine how robust these interactions were. Knowing the legendary Bradumza, a seasoned broadcaster, sports commentator, media activist, and a man with distinctive accent in different languages. He would engage you with a strong view on the subject matter. No bangaba, you think he may be missing A or B, but the manner he strongly puts his point, you would listen and be able to nganga from him. More so also given his accent and his command of the language, and therefore it makes you listen. Nobangaba ucinguba what he's saying is not necessarily right. He was an all-rounder, as said before, with views on all topics, with elaborate historical and contextual information. Kwezi, whilst he supported the legal and regulatory view that sports of national importance must be available on free-to-air television, he warned us, at Yenkabi, but your regulation ingabulali is sport, like boxing, etc. He had views on what we should be doing as the SABC board, strongly so. He felt strongly on how to fast-track the broadcasting digital migration project and what the implications on delaying it would be. Our favorite subject, me and him, which he called us to that show yake, was on media freedom, transformation, media diversity, and his passion on the lack of indigenous languages in print media. he felt strongly that we must revive the newspapers like Imvo Zabantsundu, which was one of the first Xhosa newspapers. When we conducted research about its viability, he felt so strong that I was at times doubting if the research report would assist on what needs to be done. Shouldn't I just stop the research and do as the roadmap mapped by Dumile? I enjoyed engaging with him as he would go back to history, narrating the origins of Xhosa newspapers and why we must find the revival of such. After discussing with Dumile, one would feel that the governance and organizational processes are delaying achievement of intended objectives. But of course, whilst tempting to deviate, unfortunately, we had to adhere to the processes. Recently, he was so pushing such that siskolo tisam kuye, and as I was asked to come speak here, I was like, no man, but I was supposed to meet with him. So it's painful that I meet him kanje. He was pushing to meet with us and the late Comrade Jackson Mthembu on his vision of driving media diversity. He wouldn't take a no for an answer, any explanation about our busy schedule at presidency, as you know him. He was just demanding that we must meet. Unfortunately, on 2 occasions, he cancelled diarized meetings, and that helped me as I shifted the blame. But lessons that stands out for me from Dumile, and I'm not going to elaborate because I think a lot has been said about them. I think I learned commitment, passion, robustness, reading. You cannot lead if awufundi. And Dumile was a leader because he funded, if there's a word like that, and the knowledge was just here. We salute you, Dumile, for your example and dedication to the community. We pay tribute to an extraordinary human being who dedicated his extra life to the service of his people. The younger generation in society at large should be inspired by his strong leadership and contribution to society. We pay homage to his life of courage, activism, of action, of hope, of indelible leadership contribution. In his honor and as his legacy, we must ensure we mainstream indigenous languages in the new media. The digital media space must have isiBhaca, isiMpondo, isiXhosa, and isiPedi, and all our languages. That I think we should do in his memory. We need more voices like Imvo Zabantsundu in the digital platforms and strive for sustainable media diversity. Mandi, the role played by the community broadcasters is not by accident. It's because he supported media diversity. To Usapo and colleagues across all his different areas of work, though this grief is personal, you are certainly not alone in your loss. Whereas no words relieve the kind of pain like losing someone you love. We have to turn, though, to some of the world's greatest writers and change makers for the words of comfort. I have a few, just to quote Emily Dixon. I quote, "Hold dear to your parents, for it is a scary and confusing world without them." As they say, close quote, as they say, hope is the single most powerful weapon that powers the body to wake up and soldier on. For in life, these are experiences that make who we have become. Njengomntana kamfundisi ke sisimandi, I must go to my go-to verse that at times like this I refer to kula ncwadi yentshumayeli Ecclesiastes elagama elinzima, chapter 3. I'm not going to go into it except to just refer to its message that to everything there is a season, when a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot. Lusapho tuthuzelekani akuhlanga lungehlanga. Lala ngoxolo nala, lala ngoxolo nkabi. Gandhi would say, there are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you are, you will always be in our hearts. So bonana pa phesheya nkabi. Thank you.
Lumkomtinde, representing the communications industry. Let's give him another big round of applause. And thank you, Lumko. And if there are viewers that we're parting ways with now, that it's 5 o'clock, we would love to thank them for having joined us. And we're wrapping up with a tribute from the Rose of Soweto, Dingan Tobela. And then we'll come to the vote of thanks and the finale on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the red corner, having weighed, I say, 120 something. Yeah, when he was a boxer, he was 78, but now, Rose.
How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. Wonderful. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Rose of Soweto.
Thank you very much. I greet you all in the name of sport, and thanks to the program director. We're here to celebrate the legend. I would introduce myself as Dingan Tobela, the Rose of Soweto. People today, they call me a has-been. And I live up to that. I understand and take it and say, yes, I'm happy. But anyway, today we are here to celebrate the life of a legend. You know, I remember the first days when I met him. Before we worked with him at the SAPC, I met him at Tinach. I'm more of a Shangani from the Shangani group. And of course, Xhosa and Zulu, I grew up with because my grandmother and all the likes that helped me. But certain words, I couldn't hear them properly. I got to verify, you know, and say, what is this person saying? So I got to get it in Tinacha. And when I got there, Dumile bekakhona, and he started, you know, he was a coordinator and all that. And what I knew about him, for me, is that he supported me throughout. He was my #1 fan, you know. And he acted such. When I say he acted such, I'll take you through it, you know, because I got there and I did not understand Xhosa well, and Kusetinacha. So, of course, fight fans and everyone, they are there for, you know, Mpaduli, if you remember Mpaduli, of course, yes. He was a champion, I was a challenger. You know. Mpiseka, yes, Mpiseka Baduli. And I got there, we had the way in, Dumile was there. And he looked at me, and of course, they are voting for the local guy. But as much as I said earlier on that Dumile was my #1 fan, I knew that, you know, he will always be on my side. But this time, because we're in the Eastern Cape, he wasn't. And little they knew that he wasn't, because I still have faith in him. And he was very, very diplomatic. he started saying words that he knew that I wouldn't understand them, you know. So he said to Piseka Mbatuli, "Ojonga ngapha nangathi uyibethe le yankunkuma yasethi." So uthethe ngenkunkuma. Inkunkuma, I don't know what inkunkuma is. You know. And I was just smiling, and I went out, and I was thinking he's on my side, but no, he wasn't. And later, I went to go and ask and find out what nkunkuma means, you know. And they told me, those that knows what nkunkuma is, they can testify to what I'm saying. So in the real true sense, in a nutshell, he was a man of stature. He was a man that will come up with all other angles of, you know, entertainment and all that. And I went all the way to go and join up with him at the SABC, where we were doing commentary. You know, we did commentary between myself and Bert Blewett. He will sometimes, you know, do the commentary with Bert Blewett. Sometimes he does it with me. And in the interim, as much as everyone knows that he was a multilingual, he will be saying it in Zulu, he will be saying it in Xhosa, he will be saying it in Afrikaans. But the most part that I still remember him of is in Afrikaans. Because I was learning from him as a commentator. And there was one line that probably I will throw it into the audience now, especially you, Patko. I will throw it to you. I will say it in English. I want you to say it in Afrikaans. Why I'm saying that? Because you've been in and around him, and he's been telling you these lines in Afrikaans. You know. Okay, let's try. Okay, two fighters will be fighting. They throw punches. This is the jab. This is the right hand. And when you look, these are uppercuts. And now when you put all those together at once, in English, they are called combination. It's combination of fights, you know, it means of punches, right? And Patko, that's your time. What is combination in Afrikaans? What is it? Try again. Okay. Not quite. Can anybody, Afrikaner, will tell me what is combination in Afrikaans? I didn't know too. You see, that's direct translation. Combination, combination, you know. But Afrikaners themselves, you know, they don't know. I've asked them this question, they don't know. But it stands to, we compromise in saying, it's verskillende combinatie. You know, that's how they call it, combination. It's not just combinatie, you know, it's verskillende combinatie. So he was known to come up with all those lines, and it was difficult for me to catch up with him, you know. If the house cannot catch up with what he said, even then, it's a different story, you know. But all in all, I'm saying he was very diverse. He will come up with all angles. He was always willing to help. You know, when you come in, he will show you how to go about doing things. He loved boxing. He put a lot of effort to be able to get boxing afloat, you know, to get boxing going on, because he will come in when there is boxing in Daba, he's there. When there is boxing, workshops, he's there. The minister, I remember the minister, Makike Nsistofile, called him to say, come and help in boxing. All the time when they call him, or anytime they call him, he's always there, he's always available. So I know that if I have a problem, if I have a thing, I know that I'm going to, of course, commentate between the two fighters. The one is Afrikaans, the other one could be another different language, whether ethnic group, whether it's Zulu or Xhosa and all that. But because I didn't know a certain word in Afrikaans, if you go back and listen to my commentary, you'll see, because I always use that line. Daai manetjie, hy kom nou Opat and all that. Kyk maar, hy sê hom Mohammed met hy kom verskillende kombinasie en all. I started reading those lines that Dumile Mateza taught me, and it made me relevant even to the ethnic group, which is the Afrikaner. So I will always remember that and say, you have helped me to better the life and help to better the life of others. So I will say to the family, you have lost a legend. He's a legend to all of us. He's a legend to you. He's a legend to us in every sense of it. We will say we can't do anything and we can't dispute what our Savior decided to do. If he has called him, we should give him our blessings so that wherever he is, he must rest in peace. Yeah. So everyone who's here, gentlemen, I'm just sharing my smile with him that he's the man that has took me to all the other angles of life. Items and items that I'm saying are things that may help to make me what I am. One of the other items recently, I'm sure that if I remember well, it's a month ago or 2 months back, he called me, when he was on Radio 2000, and I needed to understand, what is it that I want to talk about, He says, no, we want to talk to you about the Tony Lopez fight, and, you made us proud by becoming a WBA champion and all that. And I agreed. Little did I knew that he's got a knife, he was going to butcher me. In this sense, how he butchered me, He said, I thought he was going to talk about my life and the good side of what I did because I won the fight and all that. And he said to me, he called me Dingan, That's how he said, hey, Dingan. He talked about the fight and all that, but the main thing, which he did not talk about all these years, and he always wanted to tell me, now he told me in that platform, which is on radio. He says, I remember when you jump into the scale. Normally, when we have to fight each other, we have to weigh ourselves. And you have to fight you've got to weigh in your fighting weight limit. If you come over in the scale, then you will not fight. So on that day of the weigh-in, I jump onto the scale. A scale, it's something like this, and it's got the bar there. You jump onto the bar, and the readings will be somewhere here or just in front of you here. Now, I couldn't see the readings. What are they saying? Because I've got to see that myself, because I know that I meant to make weight for sure. I must look at that. Now, what I did, the readings were somewhere here, and I jumped onto the scale. He was standing somewhere here. Now, Mandla Tlanganiso will testify to what I'm saying, Mandla. You have to stand still like this onto the scale, and if you want to see yourself, what are you weighing, you just have to bend over and look and see if you are on the limit. But I didn't do that, I went with my hands and I touched the scale like that. So you know what it means? It means it's cheating. And Dumile saw that. But I was not doing it intentionally, but I did that, So I went to go and see what was happening. But now, Dumile was telling me about it now recently, which is 2 months, 3 months back. He was talking to me about it on radio to say, hey, but I don't think you made the weight on that night. Can you tell me about it? How did you get about having to make that weight and fight? And I said the same thing again. I said, but he was not happy. He was not pleased. He always thinks that, you know what, I did something wrong. Maybe I tampered with the scale to make the weight to fight, and which is a big thing, to tamper with the scale and fight and make the weight. No, it wasn't. But anyway, those are the things that I remember. He was very detailed about certain things that he will look at and say. But he didn't have the guts to talk to me about it all these years. But only now that he decided to say, let me tell him that this is what I saw. So this is the man that, when we do commentary all the time, is the man that I'll sit next to from time to time. And we talk about, whatever we'll be talking about in terms of having to tell the people and show what is it that is happening in the ring. But I would have appreciated if he would have told me that so that we can correct it. So all in all, I will say he was a friend, he was a father to me, he was a brother, he was everything, He will call me, he will want to, at some stage, he came to my house, to come and visit, just visit. So that alone tells you that you have a friend at work, which is SABC, and outside work, which is home. And of course, in all other avenues where we met. So I will always remember him. I will say to his family and everyone who's here, may the legend rest in peace. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dingan Tobela, the Rose of Soweto. Let's give him another round of applause, please. Thank you. No, unelaka wena ngoba wayenga criticize uDumza ke enye into le information engaka. Wayenga tolerate abanye abantu ngayo, wayeba criticize ezinye commentators, criticize no referee. Ayikho lanto yenziwa ngala referee phaya. Criticize yonke into, criticize nalo Dr. Khumalo sidlala neZambia ibafana bafana khona eLusaka. It was an away game and South Africa needed to win away kulo game. Dr. Khumalo bambi bola on the left, wayithatha uMateza le comment, Dr. Khumalo ngene boxing on the left ungabi nanku Dr. Khumalo esenza amatayitayi driblisha abantu pha yikho lanto yenziwa nguDr. Khumalo. What a waste, Dr. Khumalo. Hayi khona what a goal, yahlala emnatheni Dr. Khumalo. From what a waste to what a goal. Ngoba he did not have room kakhulu for into angayiqondiyo, becriticize ngoku uRazzmatazz. No, you criticize. Awujika yakuncoma. You are the best hero. Let me call Uluyolo for the vote of thanks, and then we get the band back here for the grand finale. Okay, Luyolo Mateza, won't you step up, please, for a vote of thanks. All right, Nile walk. Yeah, you're Ndokose. Yes, chap.
Molweni nonke apha ekhaya. NdinguLuyolo Mateza, umzala kaBudumile. Ndithunyiwe ngamanala namambembe. Kunye namampinga umawawa. Kuthi ndizonibulela. I would like to start off ngawe Butphatko. Inkosi uphatha lo msebenzi kakuhle kangaka ngesidima. Ndifuna ubulela zonke izspeakers bezikhona namhlanje. Ndifuna ukuthi ngalo mazwi ukuthi i-visitors esinazo siyazibulela and all protocols observed. Njengobana ndibulela bakhona abantu abathethileyo bebulela nabo singenabagqiba bonke abantu kumele sibabulele. Nabo abo bangabizwanga ngamagama siyababulela. Sithi enkosi kakhulu silusapho. Kunzima kakhulu silahlekelwe kodwa nani siyayazi bana nilahlekelwe. Ebe close kuthi sonke. The amount of years that he has spent in Johannesburg is a Joburger, but he's also an African, an internationalist. There's one thing that I'd like to mention that I didn't hear mentioned, a sporting code, horse racing. I'd like to thank the people he was working with at horse racing, because he was working on the many ideas that Uputi talked about. There were plenty of ideas that he was working on, but some of them feasible right now, some of them not so feasible right now. I kept on pushing him to do a history channel because he loved history. And I'd like to thank the people that he worked with, you know, the friends that have become family. A lot of people won't know me because I'm generally operations in the background. He is in the front lines, and we back him. We make him the hero. That first train ride from King Williamstown is Caesar Joburg, the family that he stayed with. I'd like to thank them. The Voyi family, in Orlando. They possibly played the greatest role in establishing a foundation for him in Johannesburg, for him to springboard to greater heights. Siyabulela. I'd like to thank the SABC for having given him the career or the platform to express his career and practice his craft. I'd like to also thank for this that we have here today, the organizers, his friends, his colleagues, all the speakers. I'd like to thank the people that have donated financially, as well as in time and other resources. Those are things that generally don't always get mentioned. We really appreciate it as a family, and we would not have done this without all of us pulling together. There have been times where we were, you know, tense, but it's to be expected. I would like to thank abantu base Carriedo. Carriedo is a small little town. It still is a small little town. Umama sekahambile, correctisha kwi pronunciation. Carriedo. And yeah, I don't want to repeat everything else, but we really are appreciative, especially for you who have taken time out to be here, you know. The technical teams, the SABC, the private, commercial technical teams, and other people who've donated, in other words. Sithi nangamso singoNdokose noMpinga nezalane zethu siyabulela inkosi kakhulu.
Thanks, Luyolo Mateza. And as the band comes back for the grand finale, let me also thank you for being such a vibrant, wonderful, wonderful audience. And I wish I could take you with me wherever I go MC and say to them that I bring my own audience. Everybody is invited after this, after the grand finale, we invited to go to the grill. Nansi apha number 40 Ekoneni, 7th Avenue, Parktown North. Okay, so that's where la nto kudla ngothiwa ezilalini kulapho sawutya khona inkobe sivasa izandla. Inkobe zise the grill. Okay, I think your first round of drinks there will be in the house, and then enye nenye ke. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for the performance of the finale, the plea for Africa. Let's give the band a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Give a thought to Africa, 'neath the burning sun. There are hosts of weary hearts waiting to be won. Many lives have passed and in many homes there are voices crying now to the living God.
Say a prayer for Africa, to God in heaven above. He may reach out and bless our heart from His heaven above. And when lips are moved by faith, they so sweetly sing. Pray for peace in Africa, to our